Just shut up and let me enjoy this pain.
Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live.
When I'm hurt, I love it. I love that feeling because it's real.
You need to love pain.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
Everything else, happiness could be fake, crying could be fake, but pain? Shit. That's real.
However, mentally, physically, love it. You need to love it. If not, stay where you are.
Broski, the market is so red, I thought my MacBook was bleeding. This is the end, cuz. Yesterday I was a millionaire, today I'm a slumdog. This is not a dip, this is a black hole.
Imbeciles, they have no idea. This is not a black hole, this is the beginning of a big bang.
Why is Broski not panicking with us? Yeah, why is he so unfazed? Have you checked your wallet, cuz? The crypto is down 85%. Allow him, Broski, he's still in denial. Is it down by 85%? Or is it 85% off? Oh shit! No, gang, not the hustler mindset. Not the hustler mindset. Bro said it's not a crash, it's a discount. Circumstances, but you can change your mentality. Remember, brothers, the market sends his toughest battles to his most financially literate soldiers. When the Nasdaq falls, will you give up? Or remember that no amount of setbacks defeat a qualified mind? You see a dip and start to sell, but I remember that sudden emotions lack logic. Down isn't permanent, so I invest more into the S&P because I was born to struggle and persist. Nah, man, how does he do this? This guy knows something. Broski, was you in the board meeting with Donald Trump? So tell me, brothers, when the crops go dry, will you sell your land or sow more seeds, knowing that the harvest will always return? He's really got that hustler mindset. Bro's got that JP Morgan mentality. That's that quarter-zip discipline, cuz. Yeah, gang. Yeah, a few individuals that make it out, cuz. This guy's one of them.
Monkey, punky, pump it, price, jump it, hop in a new whip, paid for by Punky. I'm just too lit. Somebody say something. A monkey that look like a frog, price look just like a dog's, full of some chads and gods. Fudders is mad I bought. Word to your mothers, this monkey is doing a lot. Take out a hammer, I'm whacking a fudder, just cleaning the face. Jumping on Twitter, take over the space. Punky is pumping, increasing the pace. A monkey that look like a frog, paid for my flight to Prague. Touchdown, Punky Lamborghini rental in the garage. She's at my Punky, we had a menage. No, she not Nikki, cause I'm too picky. That's why my portfolio as long as a blog. All about Punky and why that shit rocks. Punky take over the block, watch. Punky, on me, funky, monkey, punky, pump it, price, jump it, hop in a new whip, paid for by Punky. I'm just too lit. Somebody say something. Punky, on me, funky, monkey, punky.
But when you go all in on something, I would say that does take conviction. Now, your conviction might be.
How many chairs are you sitting on right now?
One.
Are you all in on the chair? The point really is you put on one pair of glasses, you've got one pair of AirPods right now. You're looking at me through one screen. You're using one microphone. That's a one microphone. Like, you trust it? Is that conviction? Seems kind of scary. Why don't you diversify? Why don't you use 10 microphones? The point really is things in your life. Do you drive in 10 cars at the same time or one car at one time? Do you drive down one street? Aren't you afraid that you're driving down one street? Do you take a different way? You know? So my point really is, if you're you get on one airplane, are you convicted? You put your entire family on the one airplane, aren't you afraid? There is no asset. Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best, okay? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin, then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin, then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business that's in your family for 37 years and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth.
It's a whole lot of money in this motherfucker.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning here from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hope you all are doing well and have a good day wherever you may be. We are up early today. That is right. The Clarity Act is going to be discussed here in about 30 seconds to a minute. This is through the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services. And it is the Building the Future of Finance, how the Clarity Act unlocks innovation through the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, FinTech, and AI. So we're going to be listening to these guys today and seeing what they're talking about with Clarity Act, making comments here and there. DCC will be joining us a little bit later here. Don't have the perfect lighting here this morning. Tired as hell. It is what it is. We make it go, right? Let's get it. Nice. We got Chepe saying, I get to be with the Moon game this morning. Let's get it. That's right. So it's going to be a casual Friday here, earlier, I guess, than expected. We got Sami watching from work. Perfect. So smash the like button, hit follow on Cultivate Crypto on Rumble, as well as Dollar Cost Crypto on YouTube. And let's get started. So I'm just going to share a screen here. We do have Bitcoin dipping into this event, which could lead to basically, there's some bearish sentiment on this. The guys will need extra caffeine this morning. Funnily enough, I have not taken any caffeine yet this morning. So we'll see. We look tired. Yeah, bro, we're pushing. So let's get into it. Boom, boom, boom. All right, sharing screen here. Okay, and we're gonna have, I think this one, yeah, let's make it, I guess we'll keep it pictured. Well, let's see, maybe it's better like this here. And then, boom. So here's the hearing today. Well, before we get into that, because it's supposed to have started this second, but we're looking at Bitcoin here on the 1 hour chart. We're starting to see some reversal here a little bit. We saw a big drawdown, a wick here going into this, and then now like a little bit of a reversal. So that's kind of interesting. Right now, Bitcoin is basically coming down here, but trying to find support into this. So it'll be interesting to see. We're at 63,162. It'll be interesting to see what we're at the end of this here. But this is the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services here. So yeah, it says we're still waiting for that stream. I wonder if we can press, yeah, we're still waiting for it. We can't press the web link, huh? Let me refresh this one more time. Let me just watch on YouTube, actually. There we go. That's perfect. So I guess if we full screen this, no, we can't full screen this, right? So I guess we'll stay here until the event goes live. And let's take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum a little bit, and some other stuff here while we're waiting. I guess we'll probably hear, it's like one of those things where it's like, boom, all of a sudden you start hearing the thing go live. But let me pull you guys up on my phone here as well so that I can see what you guys are talking about as we're sharing screen here. All right. Skip that. There we are. We are live. Got 45. Got let's see here. Red days is the bread days, says Neil Pulse. That's right. So yeah, we'll wait until this hearing starts. It'll probably just pop up for us. But let's take a look at where we're at here, right? So yesterday when the daily candle opened, we were live on air and price was right about here at like 63,500. We dropped down overnight here down to 62,500, so about $1,000 decline. And then we popped back up just above 63 here. So I would say right now, Bitcoin's a little bit just in kind of purgatory, bouncing between, what do you call it? Like attempting that it wants to go to the downside heavily versus wanting to go to the upside heavily. So basically, as long as it's between this area and this area, it's kind of no man's land. Once it breaks one of these levels, it will start going harder in one direction or the other. So breaking below this, in terms of like, if you're looking at the bodies of a candle here, you can go to the wicks down here, as well as the bodies of the candle right here. You'd say, okay, that is somewhat firm level here. Well, not a firm level of support, but a level of support that we would want to see hold. And so far on this daily candle, it is. You could also move this down to the bottom of the wicks here, something like that, which may be at the top of this wick here, right? So that kind of lines up, and you could say, okay, I'm going to give it a little bit more room here so my stop doesn't hit so soon. So if I put it back up to the tight stop, right, that's at essentially 62,200, a little bit of wider stop, 61,800 basically. So yeah, that area, once Bitcoin starts tapping on it, right, it's basically came out of this downtrend here, tapped it once, came up, tapped it twice, came up. Now it's looking like if it tries to tap it a third time and it actually comes down again to this trend line here, then it would break that level. And then if it stays below there and just kind of dead cat bounces down, then you can see a nice left translated cycle low going into the end of the month here, into the beginning of August. And I would say what would be the event that likely leads to that would just be today's hearing is pretty minimal, right? There's like not a lot happening. The last, 6 to 7 months, they've been saying Clarity Act's going to pass. Let's pass Clarity Act. Let's do all this stuff. And nothing's happening, right? And so since that's been the case, people just kind of give up on it at this point if this hearing today doesn't show a decent amount of progress. And then we just kind of roll down here, right? So we could see something like that. And I would say that's probably what I expect to be the most likely case, which would make this the 60-day cycle low and make us on day 42 here. And that would mean we would have about 15 to 20 days roughly of downside from here, which would bring us right into that 15 days from now, or a little bit less, 13 days from now. That would be day 55, July 30th. We do have 31 days this month, and it would be 60 days would be August 4th. You can go as far as 65 days even and say August 9th, you could still be trying to find a 60-day cycle low if things don't go well with Clarity Act. So it's interesting because we have an August 8th deadline, because that's when the Senate basically goes on vacation, so they're no longer able to vote on Clarity Act at that point. And so if that lines up with a little bit past the end of the 60-day cycle, then what this would be essentially a sell the news event today. We break down here when it's like all is lost. Oh shit, the Senate's going on vacation. We're definitely not going to pass Clarity Act. Shit, right? You get a little bit of a capitulation event. Maybe you wick down to like 56,000 and some change, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, but below the current low that we have of 59,524. If we get below that level, then that's a very, very good 60-day cycle low. And when everybody's crying, whinging, thinking it's going to go down to like 52K, 49K, whatever, we could get a really nice bounce there at the beginning of a new 60-day cycle. Now, you're not guaranteed to go up for a long period of time. Let's say it's exactly 60 days. You might only go up for 2 weeks in the first part of August, the first half of August, right? You might only go up for about 2 weeks here into like August 18th, and then you roll over. All right. And then you can go further down below wherever that cycle low came in. So that's the bearish take, right? That's what we expect most likely because we are in a bear market here for crypto. I'm going to go over here yet. Still hasn't started yet. Man, I thought, me and DCC, right? We have our special time, when we're not always jumping on here perfectly. But man, these politicians, they're crazy with how that is. Give me let's see here. I'm actually going to do this. Give me a second here. I'm going to grab something actually. Well, let me grab something. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, this is still, they're taking their sweet old time today. I wonder what's happening there. These guys, I wonder if they're still getting their morning coffee too, or if they're just like, okay, how are we going to break it to them? Clarity Act ain't passing, bros. Let's see here. Let's pull this across. Actually, we could probably do this. Let's go to Poly Market. And Spain and Argentina is a pretty close one here. Let's go to Clarity Act here. As of right now, maybe we're getting some inside information out here. Who knows, right? But we had Trump's teleprompter guy betting on shit prior to his speeches, right? So maybe here we have some people that are going to be in the Financial Services Committee, and they're just like, man, this is so bearish. I got to take a bet to the downside on this. Maybe it was a 47% chance, close to a 50% chance here, pretty much from mid-June until recently. So over the last 1 month, then today, or not just today, but maybe the last 3 days here, this has popped down quite a bit, specifically today, quite a bit. So, I think in general right now, people are not expecting Clarity to pass, to be honest. So that bear event, along with Bitcoin price here, is expected. Now, the cool thing about what's happening with Bitcoin prices, even though we expect downside, we've been getting a lot of bull moves here. We got like a full week of upside here. We got a really nice daily candle there. We're getting some buy up on this wick here. So, there's a good chance here that when you pop down on price, it's not a very significant crash to the downside, right? It's like a bit of a bounce here. If it's several days in a row, though, of course, that takes its toll on prices across the market. But it might not be in a crazy event going down to that price of 57,000. Might just be kind of like a slow roll there over the next couple of weeks. But what is the bull case? Let's look at the bull case before we get these guys out here in the Senate or the Financial Services Committee. So the bull case here is that we had a cycle low right here instead of right here. And we already have the low in here on day 39. bull case would be that we have a high right now on day 14. We're currently on day 16 of the 60-day cycle. If we were to break 67,250, if we were to break that level, then we could go to the upside here and hit 70,000, 111-day moving average and stuff like that. And could we have a right translated cycle? Possibly, right? We go on a new high here past the beginning of August. We could be on the second half of the 60-day cycle by the time we get into the early part of August here, right? We could be making some gains already here. What do you call it? We're going to be prepared for that scenario, but that's the less likely scenario. Why? Mainly because we did expect to get rejected here around 65, 66,000, which is right where price did. And we're in a bear market and we've had a lot of downside here. We don't expect a lot of upside, but if we do get that move here, because right now we do have buy signals on the weekly for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and others, right? Those buy signals are still holding. They are still intact right now. But yeah, we would need Bitcoin to get back up here at this level, because by bouncing here and even if it was a left translated cycle, let's say it only goes up here until July 23rd, and then it rolls over, right? We could get even more significant downside there than in August, which would be very, very good opportunities during the webinars of the crypto mindset, right? In that case, you would have your next low probably near August 20th or so. So the second half of the month, we'd be buying that up like crazy in the course. And yeah, then setting ourselves up for a good run in September. So we are really at a pretty significant pivot point here for the bulls and bears. So the downside rate, we have to break below that for the bears. For the upside, in the short term, I would say, yeah, you have to, of course, break above this most recent high. But the more important high here to break above for the bulls would be this one here. So 67,250. Let's get it right about there. So until we break one of those levels, we will see. But these guys still taking their sweet old time. It's 15 minutes past due for the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services. But hey, who's counting? Let's see. I'm just looking at the chat here a little bit. What's the chat got to say? Perfect. Blue Diesel says, we already know it's not going to pass. Those in charge want to go on vacation. They don't want to deal with the chaos with it. They want cheaper entries while tards lose patience. There you go. Somebody says, are we doing a coin request this morning? Yeah, we can do some coin requests this morning once this hearing has taken place. Absolutely. It could also be a bottom event. Yeah, that's possible. But yeah, I would say right now it is correct for poly market to reflect that we are more bearish on this than bullish on the Clarity Act. I mean, they've been jerking crypto's chain here since what? January at least, right? Oh, Clarity Act, we need to pass it. We need to pass it. We need to pass it. Oh, it'll pass it on the next month, on the next month, on the next month. So like it makes sense for people to be bearish on the Clarity Act right now because it does look like it has a huge uphill battle. But, you know, if it does pass, I think that would be like a, oh shit, you know, moment. And then, yeah, that could create a bottom signal, but we just don't expect that to happen. But it could happen. So, man, these guys watch, they're like, you know, after further discussion, we decided we're going to hold this hearing tomorrow. You sons of bitches. I got up early for this shit. Nice. Yeah, this website loads like a nice slow burn here, but yeah, let's refresh this too. No, not even close. All right, let's see. Oh, not that one. We are live. We're in Inception right now. We got, if you want to go over and make sure that you never miss a live stream, come over here to cultivatecrypto.com/livestream, and you'll watch every live stream there as it takes place. And then you can also see our last 6 live streams recorded here. You can press, watch on Rumble. It'll take you to Cultivate Crypto on Rumble. We're going to get a YouTube one too for Dollar Cost Crypto here. And then you can put your first and last name in here, put your email, subscribe now. And when we go live on every episode here, you will be able to watch it on this channel. So, we did get removed from YouTube here for the moment, and they won't ever be able to take us down from here. So it's a, way for us to keep uncensored. But then also at the same time, by subscribing here, you guys get for sure notification that we're live, and then you can say, okay, I got the notification. I'm going to go over to Rumble, or I'm going to go over to YouTube and watch the stream. We appreciate that. So I'm going to, what do you call it here? Pop out for a second, back to seeing you guys here. Boom. There we are. We do it live. Says Big Nelly. That's right. That's actually maybe true. Bleezy says Charlie and Miguel will be the only crypto content creators not to tune out today if this act fails to pass. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, won't be good for price short term. We'll probably will drop, right? But so what? We get cheaper prices. We get good buy entries. We have Aerodrome essentially delaying its launch onto ETH-L1 until mid to late August. Then it goes through its final audit process publicly, and then goes live in September. That may be a signal as well, because I mean, they're related to Coinbase, and Coinbase does have insight into that. So, but the other thing is. Basically, if we, what do you call it? If we don't get this to pass, then the other thing that can happen is the CFTC and the SEC just write the rules themselves, right? And if they write the rules themselves by the end of the year, Wall Street is still going to go straight with RWAs, right? So we're going to get Wall Street adoption here this cycle, whether the Senate and the government likes it or not. Damn, they're 21 minutes in here and they still haven't put this shit live yet. That's crazy. I see a second one here. There's actually 2. Oh, man. All right, we got it live finally. It's been live here. How long? Motherfucker, their website link didn't work. Mother sons of bitches. All right, let's go watch this shit. Oh. Hold on a second.
still apply to securities intermediaries. Clarity even creates new categories for businesses operating in the digital commodity markets.
Of course,
and
of
imposes
course.
stringent regulations on those
All right, let's get these guys on here.
And where a business is properly regulated as a financial intermediary, the Bank Secrecy Act still applies to prevent money laundering and terrorist financing. Clarity keeps regulation focused on the people who actually perform intermediary functions. And for these reasons, Coin Center applauds the House for its work in passing Clarity and encourages the Senate to pass equivalent legislation as part of its market structure efforts. This has been a long process, but the pieces are now in place. Congress can meaningfully improve market integrity and customer protection while also preserving the open networks, non-custodial tools, and peer-to-peer architecture that makes this technology worth protecting. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Somozato. We'll now turn to member questions. I'll recognize myself for 5 minutes. History teaches us when transformative technologies come online, they also often face skepticism before becoming foundational to our economy. A century ago, that was electricity. 50 years ago, personal computer. 30 years ago, commercial internet. Each of these technologies matured, though, and policymakers developed legal and regulatory frameworks that gave businesses, investors, and consumers confidence to innovate, invest, and drive widespread adoption. Blockchain technology has now existed for more than 15 years. It's no longer a theoretical concept. It's a practical technology powering real businesses, real networks, and real economic activity. Yet despite its maturity, entrepreneurs and developers are still facing significant uncertainty about how the digital assets are classified and regulated, which brings me to you, Ms. Aberg. Is it fair to say that without blockchain technology, helium would not exist? In other words, are blockchain and digital assets found fundamental to helium's business model rather than simply being an added feature?
Absolutely. The network would not exist without blockchain. The network operates across 140,000 unique access points deployed by thousands of individuals and small businesses. That's a distributed, decentralized network infrastructure.
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
That infrastructure needs to be coordinated between all these discrete points. Blockchain is the technology that allows us to do that.
So knowing that, what's the real world consequences of the lack of clarity in this space from a regulatory standpoint for your business trying to deploy internet and access to consumers across the country?
So the status quo is that there's not a distinction between tokens that operate a functional network like Helium and tokens that are sold as part of an investment contract and for raising capital. We suffered the consequence of that directly on January 17th, 2025. Thankfully, those claims were dismissed. But right now, without codification of that into law, we could face those exact same claims again by under a new administration, new chairman of the SEC.
Thank you very much. I want to jump to you, Mr. Somozato, and talk DeFi a little bit. Building on a similar theme here, financial markets have grown along technological innovation. 200 years ago, finance relied on handwritten ledgers, horse-drawn or horse-delivered communications. 100 years ago, telegraph and then telephone connected markets. 50 years ago, we got closer to the internet. Today, blockchain technology is giving us an ability to decentralize networks that can coordinate financial activity without a centralized or without a central intermediary. Blockchains enabled that growth and decentralization. So the question comes to you, why is it important that a regulatory framework recognize the unique characteristics of decentralized networks rather than treating them as if they were traditional centralized networks?
Yeah, so I think the fundamental innovation of what we're talking about here is this ability to transact in a peer-to-peer fashion, as you mentioned. And part of that recognition from the regulatory perspective is identifying what are the technology tools here that are being used versus those individuals who are participating in activities that would traditionally trigger registration and regulation. And I think, the technology is fairly novel and new in the way that it interacts with financial infrastructure, but it is important to understand that the key innovation here is equivalent to having a tool in place, just like when the markets went from open floors to electronic trading, right? It wasn't the computers and the network wiring that we started regulating. It was the institutions that use those for regulated purposes, and the same is true in this transition.
Thank you very much. I want to jump to you, Mr. Lovar, if I can. Digital assets represents the next chapter. You talked a little bit in your testimony about how you use ETF and ETPs to navigate around some of the roadblocks that are standing in the way. What are those roadblocks? How do we unlock them, and what happens when we do?
Yeah, I look at it from a couple of different angles. First off, digital assets under the umbrella of sort of crypto assets and then tokenization. So let me start off with crypto assets. And so we develop products, exchange traded products that invest in those assets. So that was our first foray nearly 8 years ago. One of the roadblocks at the time, and then fast forwarding, was that there wasn't clear delineation of how those assets were categorized. And ultimately, we had an SEC at the time that was really looking at these in terms of not a way under the traditional securities laws and types of disclosure, but more market-based regulation. And so our goal was to launch products investing in those assets at the same time through our US business and through our Europe business. But ultimately what happened is we were able to launch, due to the regulatory environment in the US going back a few years, we were able to launch in Europe many products investing in many digital assets that have now garnered a couple billion in assets, where we were way behind in the US.
This is our big opportunity, is to put forward a clarity and a regulatory framework so that folks are investing and developing and deploying here in the United States, not in Europe, not in locations around the globe. Cognizant of the time, I'll yield back. I'll now recognize the chairman of the full committee.
I think Europe is not going to be the leader in most of these companies because they're having even worse regulation, but it could be like Japan, Southeast Asia, China, other areas that would open up to crypto regulation better than the United States if this did not pass.
In this building be inserted in the record.
Without objection, and I encourage folks to read it.
Yeah. Well, that won't happen, but we'll insert it in the record. Well, I think we've heard a clarion call today for clarity, and that's really helpful because we've worked in the House, and many of you have been involved in that really since 2018 under Maxine Waters' chairmanship. We dealt with Libra, we dealt with David Marcus going from PayPal to try to explore that. We dealt with FTX's collapse, and Maxine gave important leadership there. And then certainly under Kevin McCarthy as Speaker and Patrick McHenry as Chairman of the committee, you've seen us systematically try to educate members on both sides of the aisle of the importance of making this transition and having fit-for-purpose rules that do not confuse a functional blockchain token for a security investment contract. And that's been at the heart of Fit 21, which we passed 2 Congresses ago, and then, of course, the Clarity Act last summer that we commemorate today with 78 Democratic votes. So this has been a bipartisan priority. And your clarion call today really, I think, helps us focus why it's important. And I'm going to start out, Mr. Lovar, and there's a lot of conversation, particularly on I'd say blockchain ecosystem chatter on X and elsewhere about, well, if the Senate can't pass clarity, don't worry, we can just do all this through exemptive relief. You're a beneficiary of exemptive relief. Could you tell us how much more important it is to have something put in law for the regulatory and legal certainty of that?
Yeah, I mean, we're very grateful, the positioning that the SEC staff has taken under the current leadership in being innovative and forward-thinking and granting exemptive relief.
But the exact opposite of the last SEC.
Yep.
Would you agree with that? Is this different from Gary Gensler's SEC?
It is different. Certainly, we're seeing the winds of innovation behind our back. Yep. Very much a different atmosphere, if you will, very pro-innovation. But we really need durable rules that are embedded within what Congress has approved. That's what's important. So understanding that those asset classifications, the distinction between the SEC and CFTC jurisdiction, the ability to modernize is not just up to the agency, which should embolden and empower the agency and provide the agency with the resources it needs, but really needs to be embedded in law so it can carry administration to administration.
I agree completely that as the chairman outlined in his opening statement, we've seen the migration of our legal and regulatory structure to meet the need for advancing American economic performance, no matter what generation. And we're at another one of those turning points, as we were in the 90s, with the decisions taken by Congress to not regulate the internet, to let it be an open source network, but to regulate activity on the internet. And once again, we're at that fit for purpose moment. Ms. Iberg, such a great, compelling testimony about the success of the Helium network. And I think it's very educational for members and the public to see distributed ledger technology used in a practical way that's not tangled up in Wall Street jargon. And so you're not the only company with a big success story there, but I think it is a way to illustrate what it is that we're talking about in a way that a lot of people can understand. But you are a victim of regulatory and legal uncertainty. And again, you echo, I'm sure, this comment that the statute is the only way to achieve that for innovators in the country and to make America a safe and sound leader in this. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absent clear rules, which we intend and want to comply with, compliance becomes impossible. It is at best guesswork. The regulatory environment that changes with an election cycle is not sustainable, it's not durable, and it does not support long-term infrastructure projects like ours. So the only way to do that is through legislation, and that precludes the next SEC chair from simply, changing his mind and reversing the guidance that we're under now.
Right. Thank you for that. And I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Timmons, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is wonderful to be here as we mark the 1-year anniversary of the Genius Act being signed into law. We are also getting closer to bringing the Clarity Act across the finish line with the goal of ensuring America leads the world in digital asset innovation and emerging technology. As we discuss what a fully implemented Clarity Act would mean for the future of digital assets in the United States, I want to begin with you, Mr. Sato. One of the Act's central goals is to establish a clear regulatory framework that promotes innovation while strengthening market integrity and consumer confidence. How will the Clarity Act encourage responsible innovation while also safeguarding its illicit finance, market manipulation, and operational risks?
I think the key is in defining those entities that will fall within the regulatory perimeter and then empowering regulators to actually oversee them. I mean, truthfully, the discussions around the regulation of this industry for the past decade have been, one of excitement and newsworthiness. And as a former regulator, it should be a fairly boring job, right? You should know the entities that are under your jurisdiction and be able to implement that. At the same time, we're talking about a novel technology that has the potential to be very innovative and be used in a bunch of different ways, as you've heard from some of the witnesses today. And what that requires is an understanding of where that line is, right? So many have been acting in an environment in which, there's kind of unclear, unwritten rules out there. There's evolving interpretations between various regulators. And that's just not an environment in which, if you're a software developer or somebody who wants to see some of the future innovations be built, that you can really operate easily in. And so the fact that Clarity kind of draws those very clear lines, gives guidance both to the regulators and to the individuals participating in these networks is really powerful.
Thank you for that. Regulation by enforcement during the previous administration drove much of America's digital asset innovation overseas. How will the Clarity Act help reverse that trend, and what impact do you expect it to have on bringing companies' investment, talent, and technological innovation back to the United States?
I think one of the unique aspects, I'm not an expert on kind of which jurisdiction is ahead and which one is behind, but at least from my perspective, seeing a lot of the individuals who are in the US are probably some of the people at the cutting edge of about this innovation. And then there's a lot of structuring to get out of the country to avoid potential regulatory hiccups over the last few years. And that is an environment that is just not conducive to seeing the development that you would want to see in a country, right? Again, going back to that point of if you have the clear established rules plus the clarity of who is outside of that, right? And we think it's very important from Coin Center's perspective on the BRCA and some of those developer protections to create the environment in which, individual ingenuity, absorbing some of the American values of liberty and freedom of speech that are inherent in this technology, allowing people to kind of build off of those is really important.
I'm going to expand on what you just said. It's just very fitting that we're here at Federal Hall 250 years ago. The American experiment literally created the most freedom in the history of human civilization. And I actually think that emerging technology, digital assets, blockchain technology is going to help freedom flourish in a way that few other things have in human history because of the decentralized nature of it. So we had a hearing on my subcommittee on the Oversight Committee, Military and Foreign Affairs, about the challenge that emerging technology will pose to authoritarianism. And if you think about the tools of authoritarianism, of autocracy, is information control and capital control. If you can control what your citizenry believes to be true, and if you can control their resources, you can control them. And this is going to have a huge impact on authoritarian governments' ability to control their population's wealth. Do you agree with that?
Yes, and I mean, I think honestly, blockchain technology is even just one aspect of that, right? We're in a time now where technology is changing so quickly, and how governments choose to interact with that and with the people is an extreme new risk, right? And it's really important to kind of ensure that the values that protect the individuals from participating in these and developing these, and allowing the development of that digital space to look like the development of our physical space in this country 200 years ago is extremely important.
The Clarity Act is incredibly important in maintaining the U.S. economy as the center of the global economy. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, to the extent that this is going to be a technology that is infused into the businesses of all these other witnesses here, it is imperative that that be within the structures, just like our securities markets are, just like our derivatives markets are, right? I think part of the reason of their success over the years has been the regulatory environment in which they get to operate.
Thank you for that. We're on the 1 yard line. We just got to score the touchdown. With that, I yield back. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Indiana, Mr. Stutzman, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's great to be here. Thank you to the committee for hosting us here at Federal Hall. It's neat to be sitting here discussing future technology in these hallowed halls here. Last night we were at Francis Tavern, and I was thinking, that used to be one of those central points of information. But it was fun just to be there and thinking about the history of our great country and the founding of our country, and what we've done in the last 250 years. But our conversation today really is going to affect what the next 250 years is going to be like in our country. As we discussed earlier, 1 year ago today, this House passed the Clarity Act with one of the strongest bipartisan votes in Congress. It cleared Senate banking 2 months ago, yet it is still sitting on the Senate calendar. Every witness here today has a story about what delay cost: faster payments, markets open around the clock, an American innovation that flees overseas. In business, we have a saying that I can handle a yes or a no, but I can't handle suspense. And that's what it feels like we're dealing with today. I want those costs on the record today, and to send one clear message that it's time to pass the Clarity Act. Ms. Iberg, I'd like to ask you, because I represent Northeast Indiana, a lot of rural communities. We have a lot of underserved areas that are underserved by major internet providers, and we spent billions of taxpayer dollars subsidizing broadband in this country, unfortunately with not so much to show for it. Can you tell us how rural America, and especially Hoosiers watching at home, how your network can benefit them?
Absolutely. So one of the problems with the initiative to roll out broadband to rural communities under the BEAD program is that the fiber and cable came out to those communities, but the last mile was not met. And so you have pretty much useless unlit cable and fiber in the ground. What Helium can do is connect to that backhaul and then create a shareable signal for that community in central spaces where they're used by the people in that community. The advantage of doing that is that, one, you're using not bespoke equipment, but typically any Wi-Fi hardware can be converted or to connect to the Helium network. You don't have to buy special equipment. The deployer of that hardware then is able to earn token rewards that are programmatically and automatically distributed via the Helium protocol, which is a blockchain protocol, to that deployer. So that deployer is incentivized to create a signal that then benefits the community that deployer is in. So it empowers the people in those communities to serve themselves and help their neighbors.
You mentioned a lawsuit by the Biden administration in your testimony. If the Clarity Act had been law, do you think that frivolous enforcement action would have happened at all?
Absolutely not. As written, the Clarity Act clearly exempts transactions like those that pay HNT to helium deployers under the programmatic and automatic distributions within the gratuitous distribution carve-out. That recognition explicitly identifies tokens that power functional networks like ours that versus tokens that are used to raise capital. They're two completely different things, two completely different risk profiles, and we should not have been categorized in the other.
What a huge setback. Ms. Abernathy, I'd like to ask you, your exchange is already regulated in Germany, Hong Kong, and Gibraltar, but has only just gotten a foothold here in the US, and I think that the sequence speaks volumes. Why did a company like Bullish have to go abroad first before setting up shop here in the United States, where you think that this would be a no-brainer for us?
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Classic.
So when we launched the exchange, that was back in 2021, at that point, there was very limited regulatory jurisdictions that actually had proper investor protections as part of any kind of regulatory framework. And to us, that was and always has been, still is very important. And that was why we needed to find that regulatory structure. So again, in 2021, when we launched the exchange, we went to Gibraltar because it was actually one of the few that had a regulatory framework with proper investor protections.
Wow, it's fascinating. My time is almost set to expire, so I'll just yield back, Mr. Chairman, but thank you both for your answers.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Florida, Mr. Herodopoulos, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as a history teacher, I love being here. This is fantastic, and I could not be more appreciative of the fact that the opportunities that will afford so many Americans with this new legislation will clearly be enhanced. And one of the fundamentals I've always worked from is the idea that the key with government is offering certainty and stability. And Ms. Aberg, I'm really saddened to hear your story today and the unfortunate nature of what has happened. And I'm so glad to see we're finally moving forward to some clarity so that you can operate here in America and grow these opportunities. And this financial framework we're talking about is really what makes America the unique place. Everybody wants to do business here. Unfortunately, the previous administration did not provide that certainty and stability, and thus the dollars are going elsewhere, jobs are going elsewhere, and it's so important that we do it this the right way. And again, I want to applaud the chairman, Mr. Stile from Wisconsin, where walking us through the historic nature of when America acts with that certainty and stability, starting with Hamilton and others, providing the haven where people can invest with confidence, knowing that the rules will be there in part. And that means our kids and grandkids will actually have the jobs of the future that are in places around the world we never thought they would be. Mr. Lovar, if I could ask you, traditional crypto and traditional companies will now compete under these equal rules or same rules. How does this bill, in your mind, create that level playing field we've all been looking for?
Yeah, so I think, look, we're, proponents, and we have been, operating under a regulated infrastructure. I think, bringing that, recognition that requires, governance, risk management, an understanding of clear rules, whether the asset you're operating under or the regulatory jurisdiction you're operating under, SEC or CFTC, whether you're an established financial services firm like WisdomTree or a FinTech, just having those knowable rules will allow you to continue to build your business, and more particularly, build it here in the U.S. under those knowable rules.
And Mr. Soman-Cento, if I could, on the DeFi issue, in the bill, it specifically excludes that certain rules with DeFi. What would happen if we did not have that same clarity? What would happen to DeFi if we did not provide the structure that's in this bill?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would continue the environment that we've been in for a while now, which is, listen, the developers are creating pretty novel technologies, right, that do test the questions around what should and shouldn't fall into a regulatory environment. And it's really incumbent on Congress to kind of come forward and say, this is where we draw the line. And from us, for a perspective, like there are important protections to be had, right? First Amendment protections to be able to write code, protections to participate in these networks in a peer-to-peer management without having, surveillance from the government that might be unnecessary. And so clarity is really important at just, again, making that line clear so that that development activity can continue, right? And that people can understand when the development activity and the business activity flows into something that's regulated, that they know where that falls as well. And clarity is very specific on that line.
Thank you. And I'll just close by saying this. I really appreciate the chairman and also our full chairman, Chairman Hill. I mean, a lot of people look at Congress as a very chaotic place, and the way that you've been able to navigate this with the ranking member really makes a difference. I mean, we go back home, we say we actually made this a bipartisan bill. Everybody had kind of not only a stake in this, but more importantly, a say in how we change the rules on how we modify this emerging technology. And I couldn't be more pleased to be on a committee that focuses on solutions, not playing politics. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back. And again, thanks for taking this time here at a special place and a special time in our history.
Thank you very much. The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Moore, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to our guests today. Thank you for the candid testimony. And Ms. Aberg, while you were testifying, and I actually was doing a little other research, reading some articles about what all happened. And I think to Mr. Herodopoulos' comments, unbelievable the way the company was treated. And I do want to thank you again for the efforts you all made in Western North Carolina after Helene. That was very helpful to allow commerce to pick back up. So thank you for those efforts. That cannot be expressed enough. I do. It always strikes me as odd. You think about it, roughly a third of all Americans either own or use digital assets in some manner. So this isn't some fleeting thing that's going to go away. And there are those who look at it and they resist technology. Well, guess what? If we banned automobiles, we'd have 40,000 less deaths a year. But that's not, we're not going to get rid of cars, I don't think. So there's inherent risk in certain technologies. But the guidelines and the proposals and the law that's being worked on with respect to, of course, the Genius and with Clarity are designed to do that. So it's understandable why companies, with the failure, particularly the 4 years before under the Biden administration, were having to look to go offshore. So I think it's important that we work hard to bring that stability. And that's why I'm proud of what this committee has done and what the House has done to pass this legislation. But it did bring me to another question, Ms. Aberg, and that is, it's clear why these, the market structure is important for financial firms. But tell me about when it comes to companies who are developing blockchain applications outside of traditional finance. Why is it important to have these guidelines as well for them?
It's critical. For pretty much our history embodies why it is so critical. The SEC sued Nova Labs over allegations that the hotspots, so hardware, could be plugged in, and in exchange the deployer of that hardware could earn tokens. It also said that users of a mobile phone plan, that was also an unregistered securities offering, because the user of that phone plan could potentially earn tokens if they voluntarily opted into a program where they provided useful information for mapping the network. We're trying to build infrastructure. We're not trying to raise capital through selling tokens. We've never actually sold tokens in the secondary market other than OTC sales that were constructed with to be regulation D compliant. Clarity defines
kind of nervous with that.
Lots tokens that are used to run functional networks like ours to the regulation under the CFTC. The CFTC still has its full regulatory toolkit and can bring claims for fraud, manipulation, and abuse in the sale and purchase of those tokens like it always has been. I don't think Clarity is a call for deregulation. I think it's a call for the right regulation per the right regulator. And without that clarity, infrastructure projects like ours are not going to be durable in the United States. We need the certainty of legislation codified into law that cannot be changed at the whim of whoever happens to be sitting at the chair of the SEC or the White House.
And so to your point, of course, jurisdictions like the European Union, Singapore, the UK, Hong Kong, and the Emirates have aggressively moved to establish clear digital asset frameworks. Mr. Salmonsato, would bring me to you. What lessons can Congress learn from the jurisdictions that have already adopted these digital asset regulatory frameworks? and where have those frameworks succeeded or fallen short?
I mean, I think the key lesson is more the initiative, right? It is the recognition that there's something novel here and that the markets are developing in a way that requires some kind of regulation, and that there are jurisdictions that have kind of leaned into that and said, okay, we're going to tackle this problem. And we recognize that kind of existing regulation is being tested in a way that we can't just rely on some of the principles that have been there. And so one, I think it's that, that lesson of, hey, you need to take the initiative, and that comes down to Congress. And then I think the second part is, naturally markets are global environments, right? It's very difficult to put jurisdictional boundaries around markets, and that requires, all the regulators to kind of come together and be able to marry where that makes sense, and that requires, again, that initiative to put some regulatory environment in place.
And in that same thing, just as a follow-up on that, why would you say it's important that any market structural legislation preserve the ability of decentralized finance to innovate while ensuring there is the regulatory oversight focused where there are risks?
Yeah, I mean, for us, that is the core innovation here, right? It is the development of a network that is permissionless to participate in and to be able to transfer value in a peer-to-peer fashion, right? It is the truth that there has been a large development of financial institutions and technology firms building in this environment. But even without those, the technology is still important, and that requires a protection of those people who want to participate at that level.
Thank you, and my time has expired, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the chair of the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Muser, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all very much for being here with us. This is really a great hearing. It's very, very important. And it's certainly fitting that we're here at Federal Hall, where capital formation began in our country, and the Clarity Act is about extending that same opportunity to more Americans, not fewer. And I'm sure my colleagues as well, are certainly hoping that the Senate is watching your testimonies and your comments, because they're compelling and they certainly need to be aware of it. Also a little disappointed none of our Democrat colleagues are here. They were invited, and certainly Republicans and Democrats will all benefit, all of America, by passing the Clarity Act. We've passed the Genius Act, as you well know, into law, signed by the president. So, stablecoins has got its federal framework. House has done its part in passing Clarity, and truly it's up to the Senate to finish the job. So, Mr. Samansato, let me start with you, please. With your experience working at the CFTC and now the private sector, how does the Clarity Act make sure we're not creating new gaps for illicit finance and market manipulation while we're trying to give legitimate businesses certainty?
Yeah, so I think it does a few things. I've talked already about how it, sets the clear lines of which entities are going to be regulated. But then core to that is building off of that to use the traditional anti-money laundering structures that are in place, right? To say that these newly regulated entities are still going to be Bank Secrecy Act regulated, and that they will have an obligation to surveil for illicit activity. I used to work at Chainalysis. It's a company that, recognizes there's something unique in these networks and the ability to process some of the data and be able to identify potential bad actors. And what you've seen is even something unique in this market of companies that operate using that kind of technology to do, enhanced screening or kind of a different form of risk management on their customers and on illicit activity. And so I think kind of putting all of those pieces together with this bill and kind of ensuring that those intermediaries that are rightfully defined as so also have those AML obligations and kind of, the kind of, I don't want to say motivation, but the call to implement that is really important.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Louver, Wisdom Trade Prime mobile app, tokenized securities for sales. Do you think this will expand access to everyday investors to trade on blockchain? And how does Clarity, what role does Clarity Act play in that?
Yeah, most certainly. I think, if you look at one of the core benefits, and this gets to a point Mr. Timmons made as well, is you look at the investor being able to have greater control. So we can deliver that tokenized fund share to their own wallet. They control that wallet, and then they can move that fund share to anyone else's wallet instantly. If you think about the power of that instant movement, instant settlement, right now, that is intermediated. believe it or not, if you tried to move a traditional share of stock, if you just said, hey, I want to transfer this share of stock to my son or daughter, that is actually not a simple process. It requires a lot of paperwork, multiple days, just to do that simple action. Now I can hold my tokenized share in my wallet, move it immediately. So just bringing back the power to the investor is critically important. The Clarity Act embodies and notes the power of tokenization, that securities that are tokenized or securities themselves, also empowers the FCC and CFTC to continue to innovate. So that's really what's going to continue to allow innovation and growth in this space.
Great. From your perspective, Ms. Lover, where does today's uncertainty over whether a digital asset, which of course the Genius Act tried to clarify, falls under the FCC's or CFTC's jurisdiction, does that create a operational or compliance burden?
It has historically, yes. I mean, from our historical experience, for instance, we tried under the prior administration just have comfort that our tokenized gold product was in fact a commodity. If you think about certificate of title to physical gold in a vault, it seems like pretty clearly a commodity, but it was such a complicated environment that we didn't have complete comfort. We then said, okay, help us understand why this shouldn't be just considered a commodity. And we just could not get an answer. And this Clarity Act would provide those knowable rules, those durable rules to make clear that answer. I mean, we ultimately launched because we knew we were in the right there, that we had the clear answer, but you want the durable rule to allow you to really have the ultimate comfort there.
Thank you. I'm glad. I believe we have a second round, so I will have more questions after that. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman yields back, and indeed, we do have a second round, so we'll go into a second round of questions for our witnesses. I want to dive in, if I can, with you, Ms. Abernethy, again. A lot of crypto intermediaries and exchanges have been relying on licenses like the state money transmitter license, New York BIT license to operate. But these requirements differ, require compliance with up to 50 regulatory frameworks. And so the question then is, how will clear definitions of digital asset intermediaries' roles impact crypto exchanges such as Bullish? But then in particular, how will providing these types of frameworks at the federal level enable greater consumer protection in the process?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, having clarity over roles and responsibilities is obviously always very, very important. So, firms know the rules of the road. They know what they can do. They know how they can do it. They know what's, part of the framework, what isn't. And what they need to comply with. To your point, yes, the state by state is tricky, and not all states have a regulatory framework either or a license. So, we actually believe, one of the biggest investor protections of a federal framework is the fact that it would be federal, that it would be across all states, that there would be a consistency in the licensing and in the requirements, and that everyone would be protected.
That consistency across 50 states, that obviously allows businesses to scale. That's one benefit, right? You're going to see hopefully capital deployed in the United States. The other side of this that I'm focused in on not only is making sure that we're investing here in the United States rather than abroad, but also how we're protecting consumers in the process. How does that, having a national framework, benefit consumers rather than the patchwork that we just discussed?
Well, again, to the point, having the framework will bring liquidity onshore. To your point, it will make the markets actually have a structure within which they can grow and develop, which just we have not had to date, and that is why liquidity has certainly left. And we've seen it in the past when new regulatory structures have come in to even traditional markets. They have done so with the right protections that have allowed a market to grow, evolve, and effectively protect all consumers involved.
I think there's a real opportunity as this framework builds out. Not only will you see more innovation development in the United States, I think this is also our opportunity to make sure that there's consumer protection standards in place to help people. The good actors want to root out the bad actors in this space. I think making sure that we have clear lines as to what regulator has what authority where as Clarity does, provides us huge opportunities in this space. I'll stay with you just for a minute here since we're in a second round. The Clarity Act really shores up the SEC's authority with respect to digital assets commodities sold as part of an investment contract, and allows the SEC registered entities to offer digital commodities on their platforms. Could you just give a little flavor as to why you think that is an important provision inside Clarity?
Yeah, so that's really important as it kind of helps towards the development of kind of a dual registration, if you like, between the SEC and the CFTC. And, you know, as we've seen recently from March 2026, sort of the MOU between the SEC and the CFTC, as well as the interpretation that came out, that the agencies are trying to harmonize and working towards that, which I think would be an incredible benefit because there are overlaps, there are intersections, and they do need to work together. Some of the important ones, one in particular I've been looking at is the portfolio margining that is recently being discussed, which can provide not only more effective and efficient risk management, but it can also actually unlock capital, which then provides more liquidity into the market.
Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody being here. I'll yield back and I'll recognize the chairman, Mr. Hill, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Let me stay with you, Ms. Abernathy. Talked about you've got the base exchange, and people are now writing applications on this base layer, which Clarity gives some real benefits to. But can you walk through the migration of certain traditional finance intermediated settlement activities to a decentralized blockchain approach, and talk about how you see that interoperability and, for example, in the consolidated audit trail plans of the SEC, not my favorite subject, but nonetheless, the law of the land, you know, blockchain ATSs or blockchain registered exchanges have an obligation to show that lit market to. Tell me how you're going to comply with that.
So we operate a centralized exchange primarily. So we're not moving into sort of the decentralized space. And so that is how we are evolving, as noted, starting with sort of, you know, we have applications in right now with the CFTC to have our centralized futures exchange, clearinghouse, and intermediary. We had also recently announced acquisition of Equinity, and the purpose of that was to move into the tokenized securities infrastructure, and we believe combining the platforms does sort of give that full life cycle from issuance and registry to trading and connecting effectively a trusted sort of reporting and regulated transfer agent that was Equinity or is, and with Bullish's sort of blockchain and trading infrastructure, and that this represents the future of the securities market.
Thank you, Mr. Lovar. Same sort of question to you, since you run a big, well-known traditional finance company that's using tokenization. There are a lot of people that, you know, they don't want to be bombarded with information from you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So tell me the value of tokenized settlement with 7 day a week settlement for your customers. Who's using it now that you're offering it, and what kind of volumes are you seeing?
Yeah, so, you know, one of the things I'd note is that, you know, we've seen increased volumes just since the passage of the Genius Act. So, you know, one of the important things there is, I think, just Congress, you know, putting its stamp on actually approving a federal framework for, even though that was for stable coins, I just think it underlies the importance of the passage of Clarity. So we've seen increased activity since then, including increased stablecoin issuers. So those stablecoin issuers, for instance, are interacting with our money market fund as a reserve asset. So they want that instant liquidity, instant availability, can move into their reserve, and then as their users are moving in and out also instantly out of that stable coin, they can similarly move that reserve asset. We're also seeing stable coin holders that aren't able to obtain yield through holding their stable coin similarly access our assets, our tokenized funds, particularly our tokenized money market fund, but also the other exposures. I can move my digital assets instantly. I want also, if I'm going to access and interoperate with traditional financial services, I want that similar experience. So, every user should have that similar experience and have the availability to instantly settle and also work 24/7 around the clock. I think as well as, as others are, you're entering into different spaces, it can be difficult to have a financial position that you want to, liquidate, for instance, and not be able to do that on a Saturday when the markets are, maybe volatile otherwise. So providing that access point 24/7, we found to be very important.
Mr. Samasato, similar with your regulatory experience too, tokenization of collateral pools, which is net margining, but wouldn't that be a big issue, and couldn't that have been helpful in some catastrophic situation like Silicon Valley if the collateral pool of the Federal Home Loan Bank and the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco had all been 24-hour accessible with blockchain accounting? Isn't that a way to have more liquidity, more safety in the financial system?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take even a different example, which is you go back to 2008, and there was a lot of questions about, to what extent was the crisis a result of the derivatives market, and a lot of it was just an unknown exposure between counterparties, and so when you have something with more, uniform infrastructure and information available to a regulator, it's a lot more information to glean that maybe it wasn't the case that any one business was underwater, but now we know the credit exposure to each business and can manage that risk better.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, Mr. Chairman, when we think about the benefits and scale of this technology. Yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman of South Carolina, Mr. Timmons, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's critically important that Congress continue to create the rules of the road to make sure that emerging technology has certainty. And the Biden administration's regulation by enforcement was the exact opposite approach, and now Congress has acted. We put a lot of points on the board with Genius. We're about to put more points on board with Clarity, but we need to continue to build to maintain the certainty for businesses to invest and to give them the rules of the road. And I think that the next step, I hope, is going to be around tokenization. I have an NFT bill that we've been working on and plan on filing it after Clarity passes. I think that all of this emerging technology changes lives in a way that we can't really fathom. I mean, think about the iPhone came out just 20 years ago, and the world has changed just immensely. I still remember the BlackBerry. So, I mean, I can't think of what 20 years from now is going to look like. And I think that there's some areas that are exciting. And again, all of this emerging technology has value because it streamlines processes, it removes middlemen, it creates transparency, and it gives people more freedom to move their assets. It makes their lives easier. So as it relates to tokenization, there's also a potential for the government to use it. So one thing that I've been thinking about is vehicles. I recently got a new car to register my car. You got to pay taxes, all this stuff. So, I mean, Mr. Lovart, could the government tokenize vehicles and then streamline taxation? I mean, we're having this issue of the gas tax. We got electric vehicles. We're going to have hydrogen vehicles soon. So, I mean, could we use blockchain technology, tokenize vehicles to register and to tax vehicles as they use roads?
Yeah, I think, look, there's many opportunities.
Tax vehicles.
Jesus, bro.
If you just focus on the
That's why they want everything electric.
It's a, transparent, blockchain database essentially that is immutable. So having that record-keeping functionality that, as you mentioned, can potentially, provide more seamlessness, greater functionality, quicker functionality, having that, in what may traditionally be very, spaces that aren't typically, functioning as fast as they want them to be in terms of cars, registration, taxes. I think, it's potentially a very, very significant use case, certainly.
I got another fun one, land. So, I mean, how many people across this country work at the Recorder of Deeds office? I mean, ChatGPT said over 1 million. So, I mean, if you think about it, we have records that go back hundreds of years to show who owns what and who passed it across title, all of this stuff. So, I mean, we theoretically could tokenize land, and we could in 20 years no longer have these questions of deeds or title insurance. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, that's the importance of, you have an immutable, transparent record, and that immutability, it can't be changed. So that's incredibly important. You potentially reduce potential for forgery or the like. Well, you have that transparent record. You can see where it moved, and also you can tell, how it's moved. Does it move to, different, types of actors? So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there as well.
Well, I think that it's hard to even imagine what the world's going to look like in 20 years. But in order for us to continue to be the center of the global economy and to continue to provide the American dream that people have enjoyed for 250 years, we've got to get this right. And that's the importance of passing clarity. And we got to then build on it. And there's other pieces of legislation that will continue to give the rules of the road to the free market to continue to innovate. And it's exciting times, and I appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Mr. Stutzman is recognized for 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After Mr. Timmons' comment, it reminded me of a picture that I sent to my boys a couple of weeks ago, and it's, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's a guy holding a camera, one of the old video cameras, VHS cameras on his shoulder. He's got I can't even remember the names of these.
Are they really trying to explain a meme?
These big phones.
The fuck?
All these different devices that we used to use back in the 80s and 90s, and now it all fits in our hand. I mean, in one hand, and we can stick it in our pocket, and that's how far technology has come. And I think one of the things that is important, especially as we discuss this particular issue, is how do we explain to our constituents and to the American people what this actually does for them in their everyday lives. I mean, I'm trying to schedule a closing here in the next couple of weeks, and we're having to get everybody there all at the same time, and land at the same spot, and signatures, and obviously there's some ways to get around some of that. But Ms. Abernathy, we were talking a little bit about companies that are going overseas. Can you talk a little bit about enacting clarity? It would encourage more firms to be here in America. We know the race that we have with China. We know the race that we have with other countries. If we don't get this right, what happens? What do Americans miss out on? I mean, because I know, like, even some of the blockchain technology, how does it apply to a restaurant?
We won't be able to gamble online.
People in small businesses and healthcare, things like that. And I'd like to open it up to the rest of the panel too. But Ms. Abernathy, if you could comment on that.
So, I mean, absolutely. If we don't get this right, then there would be a lot of things that are missed out on. Again, from my perspective, from an exchange, getting this right means liquidity comes into the U.S. But what that also means is obviously more capital to do more with, to develop the technology more, to innovate, and to figure those kinds of things out. I'm probably less in that, very technical, exactly how it might help a restaurant or.
She's literally like, you're explaining an assignment and you don't know how to explain it correctly, so you're being extremely vague. The fuck?
Getting this right will absolutely bring liquidity on shore. And bringing liquidity on shore means more capital, means more innovation.
I think she gives the worst answers out of everybody
so far.
I know. I would basically, like, if the blockchains were created here in the United States, essentially our nation states, those nation states absorb the capital, and that ends up flowing back into U.S. corporation profits.
In a digital direction,
And,
we should be on this
and a
panel.
direction that
Something
benefits
like
customers.
that.
It's not, otherwise, there'd be no point. But it's all benefiting consumers. It's all benefiting all of us.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me a lot of what the chairman said earlier about the internet. We're building the interstate highway, and we really built the interstate highway for commerce, but also for military purposes. And then all of a sudden you have businesses that are just sprouting up and doing all these different new innovative services and building product for the American people. And that's where we're at today, and what can be done. But whether it's blockchain technology, is it's still so new. We probably use it in some ways that we don't even realize. Mr. Somansada, you're shaking your head there. I'm kind of curious what some of your thoughts are. How should the American people, why should they support the Clarity Act? Because it's going to help them in their daily lives.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes in layers, right? I think going back to what Mr. Timmons said, it's very difficult to project ahead what the future of technology looks like, other than
Win-win.
like drastically change things over time. And like we've seen development encouraged in this area and a lot of new technologies coming on board. And then I think as you've seen early adoption, it becomes incumbent on Congress to say, here are the rules of the road, so that the companies who do want to build that infrastructure that might be more usable to the end individual can create something, right? The goal of technology should be to make things easier, to make them safer. And I'm not some techno-utopian who thinks all of it is going that way, right? Again, it requires each like step in the path to kind of focus on that. I mean, one practical example I'll give you, which is like, I run my kids' swim team, right? I'm like the parent volunteer, and this is the first year that we've like required credit cards because everything is through online, and it's like, I'm just looking at our small nonprofit swim team and looking at like how much you're paying on credit card fees and how many different accounts I have to set that up. And I'm not saying like, I don't think crypto is necessarily at a point where it's going to like replace all of that, right? But the concept of, hey, a new technology that makes payments easier and that allows them to be in peer-to-peer, coming back to the users and to like the individuals in this country, hopefully the development is down a path where at some point you go, hey, this feels more like when I just used to pay for something in cash, right? And it's easy and it's online. And like, I think that is the hope of building the regulatory structure, allowing the companies to build, is you kind of get that incremental approach towards that.
Thank you.
Yields back, gentleman from Florida. Mr. Herdopoulos is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me get into the DeFi issue as well again. One of the defining features of DeFi is that many applications operate through open source software rather than traditional financial intermediaries. As innovation continues in this space, it's important that developers who write and publish software are not treated the same as entities that take custody of consumer assets or control transactions. So the question to you is, how does Clarity help distinguish between software developers and regulated financial intermediaries? And why is protecting developers who build decentralized technologies important for fostering innovation while maintaining appropriate consumer protections?
Yeah, so I mean, I go back to the fundamental innovation here being that ability to write up code, offer it up for anybody to use, and that allows you to participate in a network where you do a transaction in a peer-to-peer way. And a DeFi at its best is intended to do something along those lines. And so when you look at Clarity, there's a few ways that it addresses this issue. Let's start with like what is our key priority, which is the BRCA, which is right now money transmission, right? There's different concepts of that at a state level, at a federal level, but at a baseline interpretation, it involves somebody taking your money and transmitting it to another person, right? And you play that trusted role because you're taking, hold of their money, you're offering up something to the customer that that they should put their trust in you. And what crypto networks and DeFi at its best will look like is actually, it is your ability to take an open source tool and send those transactions direct in a peer-to-peer fashion. In that case, the developers who created that network are not the same thing as money transmitters. But we live in a world where the interpretations around those provisions are flexible, right? And you've seen aggressive prosecutions go after developers, basically on the premise of you develop something and you're going to be liable for the illicit use. What Clarity does is says, no, there are still money laundering laws in place and there's still important criminal provisions that apply to a developer who might intentionally try to, assist in some money laundering scheme. But if you are developing a neutral platform that's open source that other people can inspect and allow them to do a peer-to-peer transaction, that is not the type of activity that is going to suck you into a regulatory environment. So that's like really key in Clarity. And then it also does something similar from the SEC and CFTC registration perspectives.
Thank you. Mr. Lobar, you brought up a great example before talking about transferring stock, right? And the old way and hopefully the new way, right? And I'm sure we all do wire transfers. It's a pain. You get $30. You got to go in and do all these different steps. Walk us through what a traditional situation you described if you want to transfer some shares to your daughter in the old way versus what the future might be, just so that we can educate folks who are watching why this is so important.
Yeah, I think, it really boils down to just you're having a number of steps, a number of intermediaries, involved in the process. So, first off, it's that I have my account at a financial institution, so they're going to require a certain level of paperwork just to be able to say, hey, I will now want to transfer to this account. Whereas, so I've lost the control of the ability to be able to move my asset because I'm dependent on that financial intermediary to do so. So it's part of that being able to instruct, if you will. But I have a reliance there. And from there, once that instruction is made, then you have the plumbing to be able to do that, to have to move it, which typically that plumbing, takes a good day or two to go through the system of intermediaries to move from, one account through, say, the DTCC to another account. So it's that plumbing that is not needed within the wallet-to-wallet direct peer-to-peer example. None of that is needed, actually. So that's really the power of it, and that instantaneous settlement, essentially seamlessly.
Right. And Ms. Abernathy, if I could, you guys are the experts at this. We're playing catch up with y'all, and we're trying to create the best legislation possible. When you're talking to your friends who aren't in the finance world, kind of as the answer Mr. Lobart just gave, how do you describe what digital assets are to the layperson who isn't in this field?
I do get asked that often, and it's one that you have to stop and think about. Do you want a sentence, a chapter, or a book? Digital assets. There's so many things. From my perspective, from an exchange perspective, they're another asset class. They're another asset that can be traded, but they can be traded in ways that are similar yet different. The difference is more down to the technology and some of the enhancements that can be done, again, from a risk management perspective, given that that's one of my key focuses. We can run margining calls so much more frequently than what is currently under the regulations today. And we can use collateral in a way that, again, the existing regulations haven't thought about. Sorry.
And I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, sorry. But thank you. It's a complex issue, and that's why it's always helpful to get the folks to understand how, as Mr. Lobart described it, it's just trying to make our life simpler, but also have that transparency, see if you have the confidence you make that transaction. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Mr. Moore is recognized.
Thank you, sir. Digital assets really should not exist or in isolation from the traditional financial markets that we have in the United States. I would submit that one of the reasons that we have been as great and prosperous a nation as we have been really falls down to a safe, reliable financial system that underpins all that allows that creative, that entrepreneurship, that growth, that balances the forward thinking to advance and to grow, but also those protections that need to be in place. And so my question, and I would first ask this over to Mr. Luvar, is, first of all, what benefits do you think there are by allowing the traditional financial institutions to participate in the digital asset markets?
I think it goes back to some of those hallmarks that we've touched on earlier in terms of, what is the investor experience potentially benefiting from in terms of, leveraging this technology? And I think ultimately for us, the reference to tokenization or blockchain will in time, fall behind the scenes. The investor will not really be focusing on, is it blockchain, is it tokenization, but what are those benefits that I'm getting? Can I seamlessly move my asset? Do I have transparency in seeing, where it's potentially moving to? Is it quicker than what I'm historically experiencing? And most importantly, can I control my own experience to a greater extent? I think the other important aspect, we touched a little bit on interoperability earlier, but if you think about it, there's multiple rails that the asset can move on, multiple different blockchains. And so as an issuer, we support asset movement on 8 different blockchains: Ethereum, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Stellar. And so that allows the investors
no, Solana.
Say, okay, here's a financial rail. Here are the benefits of that one, attributes that I want to take advantage of. And I want my asset to move within my wallet through that financial rail direct to my counterpart. So really, it's that holistic, I think, set of benefits that are really investors are looking for.
So let me ask you this, and this is going to be open to any of the 4 that want to comment on it. Assuming that we get clarity passed out of the Senate, signed into law, and done, where do you see things 5 years, 10 years, and even we're going to do the 20-year on that one? Like, I don't think VHS is going to be back though, Mr. Stutzman. I think that's gone. But where do you think we are, and how does that apply to the consumer out there across the country?
If I may respond, Mr. Moore. So I think that I think Helium represents a non-financial application of blockchain, and it is already serving
Lean into the
millions of
mic.
Americans on a daily basis, and millions of people in Mexico and soon in Brazil and potentially the United Kingdom. I think what we are showing is that blockchain can be utilized and integrated into incredibly interesting infrastructure projects and other projects to enhance the cost efficiency of the delivery of those services, and make and empower people on a local level to create those services for themselves and their community. It's not limited to wireless. It can happen with sharing. It could help update the energy grid. There are projects using distributed energy models. It can happen on the compute level. There are people sharing gigabytes for running AI programs, for running graphics programs. This enriches communities that are deploying that technology, and it is a way to enhance the delivery of those services already. And blockchain makes that feasible by being the connective tissue between all those discrete contributors.
Anyone else want to comment on that? Mr. LeVar?
Yeah, I think, we, I think naturally as a large ETF sponsor, we looked at some analogies there. I think we've seen the growth, and it took the ETF industry, it's only 30 approximately years old, but time to grow in it from its infancy and now eclipsing mutual funds. So, $10+ trillion, and that goes back to the benefits that those investors are experiencing. As we look at this industry, we're actually seeing a greater growth trajectory. And I think that really goes back to the benefits I talked about earlier. So we're excited for the growth trajectory and really leading and innovating in the space there. And I think clarity will really be the catalyst, to really put those durable laws in place, just so we're not guessing, we're not uncertain about especially the future, make it administration proof.
Thank you. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. Mr. Muser is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Aberg, the status quo is clearly not protecting consumers or investors or providing an environment that fosters innovation. How would the Clarity Act better protect consumers from crypto-related scams?
I think by creating clear rules for companies who want to comply to be able to comply with those rules. Right now, under the status quo, there are so many resources being spent by projects like mine on defensive structuring, on outside counsel, on trying to guess at what the regulations require, how they will be applied by a very mercurial SEC. With codified legislation, we have certainty about what the rules are and how to comply with them. I think that it is unquestionably, objectively, a better environment for business and a better environment for innovation, a better environment for builders and for consumers, because consumers know what they're getting into. Investors know how to scope the risk if they want to contribute capital. Counterparties that we deal with can understand what regulations may apply to the activities they're coming into. Right now, all of that is a gray area, and that's just not a sustainable, workable framework for us to exist.
Right, thank you. We hope our current SEC isn't so mercurial in your view. Ms. Abernethy, how do traditional IPOs compare to digital asset capital raises when it comes to investor protection and how companies can use the money they raise?
Sorry, I'm not getting this microphone thing correct. So, with regards to capital raising, investors should get transparent, sufficient, and accurate information. They need to have, enough information to make informed decisions and to ensure there's no fraud or manipulation. That should be no different, whether it's a traditional security or a tokenized asset or a digital asset. The investor protections that are involved and that have been, the same principle applies. There should be absolutely no difference between the two.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Lover, I see you're sort of biting at the bit to maybe answer that question, but I got another question for you first. If you were speaking to the Senate, what would you say to them about the importance of passing the Clarity Act?
I think that what we've seen so far is certainly, while Wisdom Tree's sort of focused on the U.S., we've seen a lot of innovation go offshore. We've seen a lot of players offshore. And so, really the Clarity Act and providing that durable framework that it's proposed to provide, I think will really ensure that America continue to be the powerhouse of innovation in capital markets. And we want to build here and continue to do so to have that durability. So I would say, if you're going to keep America at the forefront of innovation, pass the Clarity Act.
Great. Mr. Sansato, same question.
There's like a lot of divergent views on crypto, right? And I think that even from my perspective, right, there's some really fascinating and interesting developments and innovations in this area. And at the same time, there's a lot of fluff, right? And I don't think that changes the way that I think Congress should approach this, which is you have constituents who are interested, excited, want to participate in these networks, see different value through different products and through different platforms. And the job of Congress is to understand that need of their constituents and create an environment in which the regulatory requirements that we can put in place and the other laws that need to be there to ensure that that's as safe as possible while still giving them the freedom to do that is extremely important. And so it's like put aside that viewpoint of like, do you like this technology? Is this the cool development or not? And understand that like people are engaged in this, right? Regardless of what number you use, right? If it's 12 million people, 25 million people, right? There's a lot of Americans who are engaging in this technology in good faith, and it's incumbent on Congress and on the Senate to recognize that and put into place the regulations that are necessary for that to
Very well said. Ms. Haberg, if you were speaking to the Senate, what would you say to them about the importance of passing the Clarity Act?
It's critically important for innovative projects to thrive and flourish in America. I think that America has always been the standard setter in the financial markets and in technology. Failing to pass clarity risks losing that leadership position, and it puts us in the country in a reactive posture where we are responding to regulations that are imported by other countries rather than exporting the standards that we want to set and have the world follow.
Excellent. Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman yields back. Appreciate everybody's testimony today. Thank all of our witnesses. I also thank everybody from the House of Representatives. There's a lot of staff here from the Recording Institute and others who helped put this on. In 250 years of American history, this is the building where Congress first met in 1789 on Wall Street. And the United States has been the leader in financial innovation, and that has given the United States such amazing opportunities. We dominate the globe in the capital market space. This is our opportunity to seize the moment. A year to the day since the House of Representatives passed the Genius Act, which was signed into law a year ago tomorrow. This is our opportunity to finish the job and have clarity, which passed the House under the leadership of Chairman Hill a while ago, get all the way across the line to unleash further capital development here in the United States. So I thank all of our witnesses for being here today. Formally, I say without objection, all members have 5 legislative days to submit additional materials to the witnesses, or questions to the witnesses. Questions will be forwarded to you, and we ask that you would respond no later than August 21st. The hearing on the Subcommittee on Digital Assets on the Financial Services Committee is adjourned.
So like giving them until what? They said the 23rd or something of August. I'm like, well, the Senate's going on vacation after the 8th. So, you might want to get those adjustments in earlier than that. But yeah, that one, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just find it funny that like both the women, like I mean, obviously everyone was pretty pro crypto, that's actually pretty cool. The whole side,
well, yeah,
was pro crypto. But
yeah, I think like all the people that were being asked questions were crypto related companies. That lady who couldn't answer a question for the life of her with the black hair that had the problems with the mic.
Which one? Because they both really couldn't answer questions.
The other one that was the helium lady, she just wasn't loud enough. Like she actually had pretty decent answers, but she was giving them from the perspective of helium itself, which was interesting. I didn't expect helium to be there, right? And then the one guy that with the gray hair, he was from Chainalysis. And then the bald guy with the blue glasses, I can't remember what company he was from, but he was probably the most well-spoken person out of all of them that was being asked questions. But then, yeah, all of the people who were asking the questions were all Republicans. I guess not one Democrat showed up here during this today. It was surprise, surprise, right? But those guys were all, various different functions within the financial subcommittee here. But or what is it called? I mean, they didn't even have this live on their own website, which is crazy. The Financial Services Committee, right? And then I think the subcommittee here was the Digital Assets, FinTech, and AI group. But yeah, like they probably, I think somebody in the chat had said like, I wish they had, Gucci, Richard Hart up in his Gucci being asked questions in here. That would definitely be more thorough answers, a lot more entertaining. But yeah, so they didn't really choose anybody who was necessarily recognizable.
Yeah. No one to rock the boat, basically.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, since they're all Republicans, it's like it was a little bit of a shill fest, right? Like, hey, let's get this across the line. Hey, let's do this, let's do that. I think they said they gave everybody 5 legislative days. I'm like, God, what does that mean? Like 20 days? No, probably 5 business days, right? So, or, while they're actually working, which is probably next week. So I think they have 2 to 3 weeks here pretty much to try to get something across the board. And I don't know, Polymarket's not too optimistic.
Yeah.
It went from a 30% chance to a 35% chance right after the meeting, but
yeah. Well, the whole story about Polymarket basically being started by some guy on the toilet. Like he would like, it's totally a fucking lie. Surprise, surprise.
No, that was me. No.
Well, apparently it was I think it was a DARPA project that was created. And essentially that's what Polymarket was, except it was originally made for the Middle East. And this guy who said he was never like, one of his background things is like he never started anything. He was like he decided just to code it in his bathroom, but apparently he was part of another project, sorry, my voice. Was part of another like FinTech project, and then he was a part of the board. He was on the board of directors, and you literally had 2 of Netanyahu's children also on the board of directors on that same company he was a part of and shit. Like, bro, you can't make this shit up, bro. This is why if the media is pushing the narrative, is like even though I like Lucky Palmer, I do like the guy. It looks cool, but like that's not the real story. Dog. They're being propped up. There's like, wow, I just decided one day in my college dorm to just load up the old Microsoft Word, and I just started coding away, and
make a, what do you call it, a defense company? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay, legitimately, he was just a kid who decided to make some kind of weird like optical glasses, and then like he basically got bought out or whatever by Facebook and stuff, but. Yeah, like I mean, like Facebook originally also was like pretty much a DARPA project, and they shut it down. I believe was it 2006. It was like, imagine January 1st they shut it down. January 2nd, Facebook was created. It was like that ridiculous. Like a lot like, and basically it was like the technology was put out there to control markets basically. And speculate on markets, and like it was originally created just for basically the Middle East to be able to like bet on like make more money and bet on basically oil politics, and also like win and lose money versus terrorist attacks. I'm not even joking around. That's why it was created.
Nice.
Beautiful.
And now we have Trump's teleprompter guy basically going in, and he went on call sheet, but tomato, right? And basically a lot of these guys that have like a little bit of an inside lane with policy, basically like, hey, I can leak information without leaking information basically and make money on it. So why the hell not? Kind of crazy, but yeah, no, I mean, did this, meeting help push the Clarity Act forward at all?
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, how many Democrats are really going to be super swayed and convinced by those people?
Right.
Not a lot, right? But I think they did make a few good points. I mean, one of the points was doesn't matter if you do or don't like the technology, there are people that want to build on it, and it will, be making the market 24/7, 365 on Wall Street. So it does have a massive financial impact and can make America, ahead of other countries and keep its financial prowess and everything. So, the stuff that we've basically already been talking about for a long time, and that's a good thing overall. But yeah, I mean, if it ends up coming to like the CFTC and the SEC making laws themselves and then pushing them through, and then hoping that the next administration doesn't put a different SEC and CFTC chair in there to change those rules, that's the best they're going to do if they don't get this passed. And then the best that Wall Street can do is just build on those rules as much as possible, so they can't pull it back, or if they do, then it rugs Wall Street, and so they won't. But so I don't think there's too much here that's massively changed today.
Yeah.
But hopefully at least it just finally gets the ball rolling for them to do their job again, because I think for a while, they've been on vacation half the time over the last 2 months. So
No, absolutely. I mean, one of the truest statements they said kind of at the end there was that we don't know what technology is going to do in 20 years. I mean, 20 years ago, he was like, we're using BlackBerries, and now look at what we're talking about, which is absolutely true.
One guy was trying to pull up the meme of the guy with what do you call it, VHS and video cameras and huge stereos.
Yeah, like everything that's in your iPhone. Yeah.
He's trying to pull that one up.
I mean, this would be like one of the times where you would show that on an iPad, because on a phone it doesn't really make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was kind of funny though.
It was kind of fun. It's so annoying. I mean, I get it, because they're trying to I need to share a meme, but I need to make sure that I can't get in trouble at all. So they always choose the most vanilla, it's barely considered a meme. It's more like an infographic, really, than anything, really, than a meme. But geez,
yeah, for sure. And then I think, I mean, if we just kind of go through here, this was the lady that couldn't say anything except for just running around in circles, right?
She's trying to sound like Kathy Wood. I know. I peeped that right off the rip. She's trying to use the same cadence as Kathy Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it makes sense. She's really famous, and people are like, "Oh man, people take her seriously and shit." So it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think they asked her a DeFi question at one point. She's like, "Well, we're a CFI company."
Well, okay, that's kind of fair a little bit, but still.
I thought that was fucking hilarious, right? I was like,
DeFi, the scourge and villainy of the universe. That would have been funny if she was just shitting on it.
I wish somebody would do that, to be honest.
I know.
Who's this? This was the guy I would say. I don't can you look him up? Just Ryan LeVar. I don't know what his job is or who he works for. But he was probably the most well-spoken person there. And then this guy was probably number 2. But he was pretty nervous. This guy was fidgeting a ton.
Oh, okay. He's okay. So he is a financial services attorney that specializes. So basically, he works at Wisdom Tree, and he specializes in ETFs, tokenization, crypto regulation. He's the chief legal officer and head of business and legal affairs at Wisdom Tree, basically. So
nice. I would say they need to promote this guy in terms of talking publicly about why the Clarity Act is necessary and how it helps companies and stuff like that, because he had probably the most well-rounded answers and ways to look at it. And the one time when this lady was answering, the other guy was like, "I see that you're chomping at the bit to answer, but I'm going to ask you a different question." Because he was probably like, "I could have given such a fucking way better answer than that lady." But then what? This guy was the guy that worked for Chainalysis, and then I think this is the guy who runs the committee, Mr. Steele. But and then this guy Hill, he he's been one of the guys that's been pushing this through over the last 1 year, along with Cynthia Lumens and a few other people through committees. So he's done a lot for this. And then where was it? There was a guy named, and then this lady was the helium lady, right?
Yeah.
But she needed to lead into that goddamn mic. You had to listen with your ear to the ground to try to hear this lady.
Are they that soft spoken, or the mic sucks that bad? I know they're. I mean, they're not like. There's times where she was kind of close to it, and it
I think she's just that soft spoken because the other guys were leaning away from their mics, and they were able to be heard clearly because their voices project a little stronger, pretty much.
She reminds me a lot of Velma from Scooby Doo.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for sure.
The hairstyle, the glass. It's not just the glasses, but it's the hairstyle. How she has she has it styled to a certain way where it's at the top of the horn rim on the glasses and stuff. I'm telling you, you wear glasses. Like, people wear glasses to look smarter. I'm telling you, dog.
Yep. Well, the one question I thought was really kind of both interesting and funny at the same time. One of the guys was like, the government spent tons of money trying to get the internet into rural communities in Indiana, different places like that, right? And we spent a lot of money, but we didn't get any return on it. Like, could we spend less just if helium were to basically help people get more access in rural areas? And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But I'm like, yeah, it's a very fringe use case, but I'm wondering why helium's so close in here. Like, who kind of got connected there? But clearly,
it's
they're on.
Well,
here.
she is the she basically, if I remember correctly, she's pretty much like the head lawyer for Nova Labs, which is the people who basically came out with the technology for the fuck's it called, helium network and stuff, and helium mobile. Yeah. But I'm trying to let me look her up real quick. I want to see what she was doing beforehand.
And I'll mention on one other thing once we're on that, because there's a few other characters on here that were kind of interesting. Sami says, "Do you think they put someone louder to show?" Yeah.
All I heard was buy Helios. That's all I heard.
Just because we're on the subject.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap right now.
Helium. This is the thing. If we were in a bull market and they were doing this stuff, all of a sudden, helium and helium mobile price would be fucking rocketing right now. But we're in a bear market, my friends. This is proof. Oh my. Oh, helium, bro. Helium's getting rugged. Man, they need that hearing, but
what was the peak? What was the peak price?
Shit.
Okay, there's hope here. Hey, wait, hold up, Charlie. Hold up.
No, I'm just looking where it started and where it's at now. I think it started let's go to the all-time low, right? All-time low is 11 cents. $54 is the high. It's at 21. I mean, as long as it doesn't have more than a 50% drop from here, then it can hold. And then, it could come back. I think, there's helium mobile. Damn, look at that. How many zeros are on front of that thing? This one was the newer one. So, but damn, that one's even worse. Yeah, the normal helium chart looks better for them this next bull market. This one looks like trash, but
so is this buying? This is like buying fucking minutes on your phone.
So what was she previously?
Basically, she was just a lawyer, and she'd worked previously at one other firm for 13 years. She worked at Shepherd. No, I'm sorry. She worked at Shepherd, Mullen, and Hampton. And that's basically where she started her career in 2009. And then she moved on to Shelley Austin in 2022 to 2023. And then from there, she basically got offered a job at Novos Labs. And then she took the job and stuff, basically. But she pretty much pivoted into crypto in 2022, 2023, and then pretty much got a job right away after having that. Because there's it's so limited just knowing anybody who knows anything about crypto at all. on a
Yeah.
legal. It's like sort of like someone who can do taxes. It's like so rare that I mean, if you have any like real service that actually does know a moderate amount of crypto knowledge, this is why like we have the course out right now and stuff. It's just like if you can figure out a way to apply your craft with crypto, it makes you pretty valuable because like there's so many people who don't know anything about crypto at all. You know,
bro. If these people, especially that lady from the centralized exchange, I mean, good God, if they would have just taken the crypto mindset course at some point, I would have just say, I think we would have heard way better answers. The guy on Wall Street, you know, like the wisdom tree guy, of course, right? He's very well polished. He's used to being in boardrooms where people probe him with tons of different questions and all stuff like that. So he's used to being on his game. Not everybody is, right? So if you want to be your local crypto expert, you want to make sure that, hey, if your family member asks you during Christmas, what makes crypto different from the traditional, you know, financial industry? Why do we need this? Are we just pumping somebody else's bags? You know, a lot of people can't answer that question. And when you know, they might know some of the answer, right? But they don't have something that they can go to right away. So when we do jump into the crypto mindset course, it's like a boot camp for you guys to really get deep into the knowledge of what's happening in the crypto space, not only right now, but also the history of it. And then also the technology behind it and why things are happening, why this is all working. And then also, you know, I think one of the guys mentioned like a lot of this industry is fluff, but there is some real innovation there. I think that was the Chainalysis guy. And that's absolutely true too, right? You got to admit what the weaknesses are. And yeah, there is just some pure meme coin trading happening, which, hey, you know, I'm not complaining, but, you know, some of the people that are more buttoned up on Wall Street and Capitol Hill probably are not as interested in, you know, that part of this industry. So yeah, I think a lot of the guys who come out of the crypto mindset course, they tend to be very well spoken. We mentioned yesterday on Nuke's channel, one of the guys we met at the Pulse Chain conference had gone through a few of our courses. He ended up on the Arkansas Blockchain Council, which is crazy. Like that's how early we are in this industry. You can pretty much be smarter and have more information and be more well-spoken than I would say most of these politicians or people that the politicians are trying to get in front of them. And then in compared to people in your local area as well, you'll know all about it. And then, yeah, you can try to go and be like, hey, I'm going to go and try to influence my community. I'm going to go and try to influence my state. Maybe you're in a state right now that is kind of in the middle and it's like, hey, they have some digital asset legislation going across, but maybe there's something I can do about it, right? So if people who are more politically inclined or people who are more that direction, like if they come into the course, they're going to get so much more information than they will from any of these other sources. That is definitely worth it. So come over to cultivatecrypto.com/shop, jump into the Q3 crypto mindset course for only $9.98. And yeah, if that lady, you know, just jumped into the space like what, 3-4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, if you tell somebody, hey, I'm new to crypto and I'm going to come and affect stuff on Capitol Hill, they'd be like, man, you're late. Like, good luck. But hey, you know, she did it. Like you said, she kind of had like a, you know, unique background and everything like that. So yeah, if you know, there's a lot of people that could take whatever their superpower is in their current job and then, you know, relate that to crypto. Same with AI, right? If you can do that with AI in your job, you can get ahead too. So there's still a lot of ability to kind of be a innovator in this space or to pave the way. I thought this guy was hilarious because half these guys are bald. This guy's name was literally Herodopoulos or Herodopoulos.
And you haven't heard of his cousin Popolopoulos?
And he has a nice set of hair. I know all these bald guys like that are just like,
look at him mirroring. Look at how mad he is, bro. The guy looking at him. I almost say, yeah, he has fantastic hair. I mean, with the name, fuck my life if I had a name like that and didn't have good hair.
Oh yeah, if he was bald. Oh, bro, even worse. Yeah, for sure. I thought that was hilarious, but he actually knew a good chunk of what he was talking about as well there. But probably the craziest thing that we heard during the whole time, I'm trying to go back to one of these guys. Where was he? This motherfucker here. He's like, you know, we can use this technology in creative ways like finding ways to tax electric vehicles more. Like, Jesus Christ, bro, that no. Like, don't use the technology for evil, bro. But yeah, if you give if you teach up politicians on, you know, how this technology works and stuff, where's the first thing their brain's going to go to in terms of, hey, we can use this technology for more money extraction from our society. Yay. Like, fuck, man. Please no. So
look at this, Charlie. Look, it just came across my desk.
What's
Justin,
that?
U.S. oil giant Chevron explores a new pipeline that routes through Iraq to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. I wonder why every Republican was buying Chevron the other day.
Right.
Like, I'm telling you, dog. I was like, Chevron was the play, dog. If you're into, I mean, it's good. It pays like 4% dividend on top of that too. It's not bad.
Nice. Well, they can't pump helium, it looks like, but hey, at least they can pump Chevron. But was there any other, before I unshare this screen, was there anything else in here, or any of the people that had mentioned something that you wanted to say before we pull back?
Not really. I mean, obviously, I think we covered most of it, basically. Obviously, like, there was a lot of fluff here and there. I mean, at the tail end there, they did talk about the transformation and stuff, but I think we already went over it. Like, you know, who knows where we're going to be in 20 years, which is like a really important point there.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody in the chat had asked, how many senators are taking the crypto mindset course? Well, none that we know of at the current moment, but we had, I'm not going to say too much detail, but we had been approached a couple of years ago with the idea of, hey, why don't you guys tailor this course to people on Capitol Hill? They're starting to talk about crypto a lot, and we may do something eventually with that space, but we were like, like, I don't know if we necessarily want to what do you call it, get those, like, those people, you know, what they kind of like love you one moment, hate you the next, right, based on your political affiliation and everything that changes with them. Like, I don't know, the scene on Capitol Hill is a little crazy toxic, you know. So I'm like, you know, we'll stick to teaching retail up, teaching the normal average everyday Joe, and getting you guys in fighting shape, you know, to come in here and really affect things for yourself, for the world, whatever. But yeah, like teaching politicians has some potential blowbacks. So let's see here. We got us right here. Are we going to keep it like this, or you want to put up the camera? He stepped away. I'll put up the camera.
No, sorry. I was seeing a very interesting video about what's her name? What's her dude? Oh my god, I forgot her name already. No, not Kathy Woods. She's like the Republican lady. I mean, a Democratic lady who sold the land between Nevada and California twice. It's like, she's like, what's her name? Warren.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's early, you guys. It's really early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But let me see, what the hell is her name? Anyway, whatever.
What were you gonna say about her?
Oh, I don't know. She's like grilling the Fed chair about, like, hey, you received like $100 million check. Yeah, I mean, Nancy. No, it's not Nancy Pelosi. But it's okay.
Okay. I want to take a look at the chat and see what you guys are saying. I was watching the chat during the stream, which was entertaining. But John, Cynthia Loomis is not rerunning during midterms. She's basically retiring from November. So isn't it always the case? The people who are good at their job, who are active, who know the industry, they're like, yeah, I'm done. Like, God damn it, man, we need people to stick around longer. But I mean, I get it at the same time. She has done a lot for crypto over the last few years. Let's see here. Yeah, this was a question earlier. How many senators taking the CMC? We got Money Gang saying, Clarity Act getting passed, or we got some issues. We've had issues here for the entire year on this goddamn thing. It's getting stale. They just basically had a cheerleading session, and they gotta get it passed over the next couple of weeks. And you know what they're gonna say if they don't pass it in the next couple of weeks. We'll do it in September, October. Don't worry, guys. Just before midterms. We promise. We promise. A. Garcia, we have a new solution for you, my friend. So he says, damn, notification got here late. Well, sir, all you need to do, and I'll share my screen to show you guys here. If you want to get notifications in your email directly from us, you don't have to rely on YouTube or Rumble for the notifications. You can come over here, skip to the live, so we're in Inception. You can come over here to cultivatecrypto.com/livestream, live-stream. Just press this one here. You'll be able to watch us live every time we go. You can subscribe here, and it brings you down to the bottom, and you can essentially put in your name, email when we go live. Excuse me. When we go live here, then you'll be able to get that in your email immediately, and then you can come watch us on Rumble or YouTube, wherever we are. You don't have to necessarily watch us here on the website, because that will take away from the likes and the views that we get from you guys. So we do still want you guys to watch on Rumble and YouTube, because that's where we're going to get pushed out of the algo so more people can see us. Absolutely. But we just made this here for you guys so that we will never be able to be rugged. And then also at the same time, you guys do get those notifications. So you don't have to rely on YouTube for all of that. So go over to cultivatecrypto.com/livestream.
Livestream, yep. Would become unruggable.
That's right.
Shout out to Graph Writer, man. He just got into the crypto Q3 CMC bundle, man. Fuck yeah, bro.
There we go.
There we go.
I wish I had the soundboard down to Marco.
I might be able to get it to work. Let's see. Yeah.
There you go. There we go. Louder, still louder than that one lady from Helium.
That's crazy. Look, I'm just here to pump my shitcoin. All right.
Yeah, YOLO slipping was watching the chats here. He says, I was up at 3 a.m. taking care of my kids, but CC shared the link. The crypto mindset course never sleeps. That's right.
Quite literally.
Well, me and DCC were like kind of like on the different ends of the spectrum when we were sleeping. So it's like, what do you call it? I fell asleep early, and then he's waking up a little later here. We're like, okay, we got on time here, so we're working it. We're working it. Definitely. But yeah. Does the website have a chat? No, we purposely did not put a chat on the website because we prefer that you guys chat on social media through YouTube and Rumble, because that is what will get us out to more people. We don't want to, screw that up for ourselves either. But we want to make sure that if for whatever reason you guys, one of our YouTube gets taken down, like it has been, or something else happens where you don't get notifications, we're getting shadow banned. That way you can still see us, but then come over to the YouTube and Rumble to smash the like button. What we got? Risky Capital says, got to do the Godfather stuff with those politics. Ask no money for the course, but ask for friendship and favors. The drawbacks, though, it's like, yes, in theory, that sounds interesting, right? But then when one of these people, because like politicians, they're like rats in prison, right? Like can't trust them for shit, and they're gonna turn on you on a dime, I guess. I don't know, man. The Washington politics is pretty toxic.
Yeah, basically, you only get what you can extract from them. At that point in time, they'll forget about you.
And they look at you the exact same way, if not 10, times 10.
Right.
Chewy says, Clarity Act pushed back and more dip. No, it hasn't been pushed back. They have T-minus 2.5 weeks here now to get this passed. Bitcoin price pretty much unaffected. Maybe a little bullish from it, but pretty much unaffected from this right now.
She cold-blooded. Yeah, they have no loyalty. It's whoever's cashing the check, basically. That's one thing I have noticed. They have started complaining that, like, holy crap, There's a lot of crypto like money coming in right now, but like as soon as, and let's just say the Clarity Act, I mean, obviously like there's always going to be money in like trying to pay politicians, but I would imagine once some of these major bills are passed that it's going to lower a little bit until another bill needs to get passed, I would imagine.
Yep. We have Paul Sachs saying we're still early enough in crypto. Dems aren't pushing equity and equality in the regulation. Yeah, because they don't want regulation. They want us to be in the dark still. They want us to not be a legit industry. Whereas BlackRock and Larry Fink said, no, it's happening, whether politicians like it or not. And yeah, Wall Street's going to put it through. This one was that Rubber Toe said, we need Congress with the average age of 40, to be honest. Some of those older guys, you know, they're still on their game. I would say there's like the people who have real experience and aren't just like kind of old cogs taking up space. Like they're really valuable people because they really know what the hell's going on. They could actually get shit done. But yeah, at the same time, like there's a lot of people who just kind of get stale in those situations. So yeah, a little shakeup never hurts anything. It's kind of like head coaches in the NFL. For a while, it was just always old, you know, crusty old dudes, basically. But once, you know, they start hiring younger, things got a little bit more competitive, then yeah, you kind of have a balance now in the NFL between coaches, depending on their experience, you know, pretty much. Doc says they don't care and will never understand crypto truly. They just want a person to get in the back rooms and tell them how to get rich, how to pump and dump Trump coin.
I guess we're not all that different.
Blue Diesel says, I ain't buying helium just because of that chick. Yeah, price is way down, bro.
It'd be so interesting in 2029 to see like, fuck, we should have bought helium, or like that was, or it's there's gonna be two scenarios. Damn, we should have bought helium, or fuck, we missed that fucking sinking ship.
Mm-hmm. Helium's done pretty well a couple cycles here, so yeah, if they come back, I'd be impressed.
WJ Dugan. Crypto
Spirit says, WTF, guys doing a show at this hour. Which one of you fell out of bed? We get the sauce live here for you guys.
Verified GG's right though. In launching the pig year, that's right. We can run it again on the goat year. That's right. Hey,
which one? Helium did?
Yeah, well, helium. So pigs and cats are friendly to goat. So if a goat year happens, they get a power boost. If it's a pig year, I'll get a power boost, and the cat. Basically, it's just synergistic. Like the three, if any of them are in their year, it's good for them.
So helium's a pig or what?
Yeah, it's pig coin along with Hex as well. Hex is also a pig coin.
Okay.
Yeah, it launched December 2nd.
Nice.
2019. Very female number.
I can see it now. The betting market's gambling on the over/under of a haram button being used on the soundboard during these meetings.
Haram.
Haram. Yeah, it's like this guy had said we need a soundboard. Yeah, they needed to spice these things up a little bit. I can't find it, but somebody else had said like, did they do this meeting in like a hallway or something, right? But it was, I guess it was in New York, and it was like one of the first places that they had a lot of legislation come through in the United States for financial services. So it's like, we're meeting in this historic building today to pass degen meme coin trading.
Right. I did find it funny that one thing that they basically had said they were out drinking last night at some historic bar.
Yeah.
Some shit.
Hold on. I remember the thing I told you yesterday. I gotta.
Yeah.
I'll put you up. Hold on just a second.
Sure. Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's my ship now. But I should have told Charlie to let me share my screen. Ew, boy. Well, maybe you can might be able to share it for me unless you stepped away fully. Hey, there we go. Rug no more. But yeah, this shit's pretty bad right now. It is cheap though, but I mean, we'd have to just deep dive back into the tokenomics. Fuck, Cash Cat is getting wrecked. I mean, we saw this coming. As soon as they allowed it the ability to be shorted, it was wrecked. So it's down about 75% from its all-time high right now. Yikes. Where will its bottom be? Probably 20 to 30 million. That's usually one of these coins who hit like that kind of level. They usually hit up about a 95%, 90% low. So like you could say 40 to 20 is probably a range there where you could chill out a little bit. Nansen versus Black Hat. No, definitely. But they will pump up. I'm fairly sure they're gonna like Black Bull is gonna get pumped up again. But yeah, Black Bull currently is at $81 million right now. So Black Bull is only down about 50%. That's not too terrible, I guess. But we will see. Definitely. I guess WG. Well, I guess it's WJ Dugan says, "Hey, bros, Binance listing on Arrow tomorrow." Hey, if it's true, hell yeah, bro. I'm positioned in Arrow already, man. Let's make that money. But fuck, man. Usually, hopefully, they didn't give them too much supply, man, because they're fucking assholes, man. You can trust Binance as far as you can throw them. Right. Let's go to year to date. 30. Yeah, I mean, we're just sitting okay. I mean, it'd be nice to be above 50 cents, basically, but yeah. What do you think will be the biggest narratives of the crypto bull run? Real world assets. Well, there'll be, I mean, all the major ones are going to be basically DEXs. So it's going to be like Aerodrome, Hyperliquid, things like that. Maybe a Cashy at some point. Basically things that people use as like kind of a DApp to actually do real function. And then privacy coins, AI tokens, L1s, and meme coins are going to be the main drivers of growth, basically, in the cycle. And then RWAs as well. But that's kind of lumping it in with the DEXs a little bit. So it's kind of a fusion there. So there's going to be like a pure play RWAs, and then there's going to be kind of mixture plays where like something like a lighter, which allows you to, it's basically Hyperliquid, but then they also like to do stocks as well, you know. When's the next Citadel call? Very soon, as soon as I'm not sick. I would like hope to be able to do it on either Monday or Saturday, basically. I've been pretty fucking sick. I've been like 4 days without the gym. It's a fucking travesty, bro. It's just horrible. Yeah. You're looking to get some hype if we get into high 40s. Yeah, I could see. I mean, I have to get a hype position at some point. I don't have one. I want to get a lighter one as well. I'd like to get this somewhere in the dollar range. Right, but I mean, this thing hasn't pumped at all. I mean, look, its whole fucking chart history is like, that's it. Like, you know, came out at $1 set, so it's even below it's essentially it's come out IPO price. Obviously, I know people got into it way cheaper somehow, right? But we could come down here, get to like a 200. I mean, it's probably asking too much for it to come down here, but it's probably somewhere around here, 300 million or so. That'd be pretty nice. So actually, Wicked, is the CMC replayable? I'm in the UK and I doubt I'll be able to. Yes, it's replayable. Yes. Every single webinar is recorded. It usually takes anywhere from about 6 to 12 hours, depending on the rendering, for us to upload it to Vimeo. You'll have a password and you'll be able to watch it as many times as you like, basically. It's really great. This is why, like, during the course, we have 2 days on, 2 days off. So we give, 2 days of like AM and PM classes, basically about 8 hours of content day and night, 4 in the morning, 4 at night, 4 in the morning, 4 at night, basically, right? And then we take 2 full days off, 48 hours off, and that allows people to catch up on possibly missed classes and stuff like that. Yeah, shout out to I like the dorky fucking pit vipers on your Pepe, bro. Actually, wicked. That's a good one. More bullish on lighter. I mean, I think more DeFi people are backing lighter right now in terms of like on the Solana base side. If I'm being honest, I think this is going to be like a play. It's still relatively cheap compared to Hyperliquid, but Hype's got the bag right now. But Also, none of these really have pumped that much. Nothing that I've been really impressed with. Like, you haven't been able to get rich off this. I mean, this is just janky horse shit right here. Probably the RPC is fucked. But if you got it, here, let me price. Right. So if you manage to get into it here, okay, you did pretty well. But the airdrop, if you were trading on this on before it launched and stuff, very few people were really using this. But if you were using it, you got a nice airdrop. So I mean, it's steadily I mean, the pattern is going up and to the right very slowly, but it's going in the right direction. So that's good. Yeah. Carlos says, I still watch old CMCs and find golden nuggets. Man, I'm telling you, man, we say some good shit in there, man. Obviously, not everything ages like fine wine, because a lot of plays and a lot of coin recommendations are based off of that market at that sentiment in time. But we try to say as much kind of like evergreen, or at least I try to, as much evergreen advice as I can. Yeah. Kyle's hella sick, bros. But he's not even here right now. He's somewhere else. Yeah, he's fucking sick, bro. Like 102 fever shit, man. I haven't been hit with a fever that high, but man, dude, I feel like shit. I got sick from the fucking party, my 2-year-old's party. Michael's V2 Miguel, and he got sick, so he got me sick. Oof. Yeah. I'm more pissed that I'm not going to the gym and getting my cardio in. That's what's making me mad. That's what's pissing me off. Yeah. Hey, Ethereum's holding up pretty well. I mean, Ethereum's kind of right now kind of kicking Bitcoin's butt a little bit, because normally this would probably be at 16 or 1700. So it's good. But it's just ever so slightly. I mean, it's like the smallest amount, basically. Orchid protocol. Orchid's a very old protocol. I'm shocked it's even pumping today. What the fuck? What's going on? No news on an Orchid. Beautiful. Fuck, look at that chart, man. I made some money on this coin back in the day by swing trading this. Oh my god! I mean, look at these swing trades. This thing would rocket up, bro. Oh my gosh! Yeah, so this was actually a decent coin to swing trade, but I mean, this last cycle, fuck it, it's deader than dead, man. Go to the sauna like cardio, maybe, but like also like you can weaken yourself too, dehydrate yourself. I'm gonna get an IV or something. I'm gonna get something done. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thoughts on Brian? I'm not touching it right now. I mean, they're kind of it's being pumped up by a lot of like the if you have, in order to understand beams on base protocol, there's essentially something I like to call like the Puerto Rican mafia, which is all white dudes with Coinbase connections, and it's all expats and stuff. They all go to these parties or yacht parties and stuff. Instead of fucking women, they try to fuck other people. Beautiful. And they basically show a bunch of meme coins to each other. They pump and dump them, and it's kind of like every other chain, Pulse chain and shit, but a tiny bit more organized. But there's a lot of parties happening on the island, and you get invited by jumping in, basically. At least what I've been told by people I know that went. Yeah. Buying anything today or waiting a few days. Probably waits a bit to settle and shit. Probably. I mean, I took some profits on tendies. That was a pretty nice fucking. I think I almost made a 20x on tendies. That was really good. Brody, I had so much conviction on Brody, and they didn't do shit. I'm like,
want to pull up the tendies chart?
Yeah. Let me pull it up.
We're inching closer, bro. We're inching closer to the Cultivate Crypto YouTube getting back. We're close. I can see it. But I'm not gonna say anything more than that until we actually get it, though.
Let me know when I can share my screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So tendies, I jumped into this one. I took profits at about like 24 million market cap on this one, and I got into it way over. No,
yeah, put it on the. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I got into it basically around like $1 million market cap. Like a little higher than like kind of around here, basically. Like me, this is me after me, basically. Like this whole wick right here, that was me entering position. And that red candle is me extracting liquidity. But I jumped into about 4 or 5 coins, basically Tendies, Cash Cat. I told this to the guys in the Citadel and as well as some of the other groups and stuff. So I entered Cash Cat, Tendies. I entered sorry, Brody. What's it called? There was a Roaring Kitty token as well, and GME basically. And I pretty much made a 2x on most of them except Brody. Brody, I was like, Brody's like the official mascot dog of the ecosystem, but like the kitty cat took over. You see what I mean? Like a quarter of the plays just don't do shit. I mean, that's what it is. Like, that's kind of how it is and stuff. But I won so much on Tendies, and it was funny because originally Tendies I was on a 4x on Tendies, so I was like, all right, cool, it's at 4 million. I don't know. I just for laziness, I decided not to take profits, and I got gifted. But also then Cash Cat went down, so I pretty much like broke even on just about all the other coins except Brody, but made all my money on Tendies.
Beautiful.
Yeah, which is really nice. And I put a certain amount of ETH in every coin, not like a crazy amount, but like 40, 50 ETH each. No. Maybe back in the day, bro, it was $100 maybe, but like I put an okay amount, and then that's good. So I've cultivated some Ethereum more than I've invested, and I pretty much could just keep the positions basically at this point.
Name of the game.
Yeah, I kept 30% of the Tendies. Keep them out because if it runs back, but this is a really rare thing because usually the main token, if it, like Cash Cat, if it's crashing, then that usually will start ending the whole meme cycle. That's kind of
right
on this and stuff.
Yeah, when I was first looking at them, I was like, yeah, Tendies makes a lot of sense. GME makes sense. The cat, the cat or the dog, whichever one basically goes first, makes sense. Like like the Tendies one was so much like or what do you call it? Like more viral ability, basically.
Yeah, I mean, my thesis on invest. Actually, I'm back on. I've officially not lost money again. Cool,
bro. The lighting in here is so trash in the morning in this house. Just like I have all the lights on, and I still look like I'm like in darkness.
Darkness is.
I need to get those floodlights.
but basically the floodlights. But basically, like I my thesis was, all right, who's got money to throw who's degenerate on the Robinhood platform that has money? And then I thought, it's gonna be Wall Street Bets. What does Wall Street Bets, what's their memes? So it was like chicken tendies, it was gonna be Roaring Kitty, GME. So I bought anything that was kind of Wall Street Bets related, and it won. But I was, but that was that was like, I didn't just buy random coins. I was like, there was a little method to the madness, but it was still madness.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's meme coin, right?
It's meme coins, yeah. But there's a little fundamental there. I'm like, okay, like who's the end user who will buy this? And I was like, all right, the Wall Street Bets guys who they do have some money on Ethereum, on Robinhood, they might go over here and port over, and then I'm also betting on. There's probably a bunch of other motherfuckers like me that are like thinking the same thing, but I was just a little earlier than them, basically, and that's it. So thank you for your donations.
I was trying to pull it up and find it, but I remember yesterday I saw Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood. He had said something like, basically, for real world assets tokenization, the 24/7 365 market. Robinhood was made to basically be on chain to have this digital what do you call it, world, essentially. I'm like, damn, like he's like basically saying our whole purpose is basically the future of finance, right? And so Robinhood, here it is. It says Robinhood chain exists to make real world assets programmable, globally portable, and always available with the product quality you've come to expect from Robinhood. So literally the entire existence of Robinhood chain is, you know, for where it's going, right? Where we've seen this industry. So that's pretty bullish. I mean, I think Robinhood Chain, I mean, like, yeah, it's meme coin degeneracy right now, but that's how everything in crypto starts. That's how adoption starts.
No, absolutely. But the one thing I would say with like Robinhood is that like, but this is where like, you know, like this is where like having like an English degree or writing or some be able to write really well is so awesome.
Yeah.
Like be able to write a really good resume. Like what, like, you know, it's basically they bought a white label Arbitrum. Yep. And Arbitrum was kind of, it wasn't complete shit. It worked okay. Just the tokenomics were really bad, but you know, it's an L2 that works moderately well, kind of like OP and Arbitrum. So like, basically it's like, dude, having a little faster Ethereum is pretty cool.
Yeah, a little bit more centralized makes it useful for them.
Correct. It is interesting. Like they're giving 10% of their revenue profits to Arbitrum. This has saved Arbitrum completely, like absolute terms. Like fuck Arbitrum. If they did not have this Robinhood deal, it was over, bros. Like an absolute, like it was over.
Yeah. And Robinhood could have gone the way that Base did, which was basically take the good stuff from Arbitrum and Optimism and make their own L2. But even Base took what, like 3 years before it did that. So at some point, Robinhood could rug Arbitrum and be like, yeah, we're going our own stack, basically based on this technology, right?
Right.
But yeah, I don't think Base or Robinhood are going away at all. And like for the crypto natives, right now they have Kobe, Crypto Kobe, the guy who's been around on crypto Twitter for a while, the podcast up only guy. He has basically been put in charge of Base app versus the Jesse guy who has been really being the proponent and builder of Base protocol. You know, he's the one who's in charge of promoting Base chain, or not Base chain, but Base L2, right? So it's kind of interesting. They have like the biggest loudmouth in crypto now who everybody respects and thinks is hilarious, and he's memeing up the shit out of Coinbase's accounts right now, which is fun to see.
I think they offered him, do you want to run the Coinbase account? He said no.
He's like, but I'll meme it up a couple times.
So this is another token called Index. It's probably one of the more interesting tokens that actually has fundamentals. It's basically just it's a DEX where you can trade stocks, and it's being purported. I mean, I'll give a big shout to B-Roots. He told me about it. But I was basically traveling, and so you see what you miss. You miss some, and sometimes, but yeah, we did okay on attendees. But this has a chance to continue to go up, but it's risky because it's already like, you know, it's already jumped about a 25x, at least from I've seen it already. And but they are supporting projects that ally with RWAs. So like, as long as it doesn't rug and they don't get any like weird regulatory bodies coming after them, like this could continue to go up over time because it actually has fundamentals. I mean, they've traded a little. I think I looked a couple days ago, they had traded about $1 million of equities, right? But it's just starting. Right. So,
yeah. Well, and this, if you look at all the like on-chain data for Robinhood, like the numbers are just like pitifully small, right? It's like brand new. And so, like I said, if Vlad, the CEO, is saying, hey, our whole point here of a company is to bring real world assets to the market in a solid way, and it's like that shit right there. It's going to go a lot higher in the next few years, right? Like unless you know the attention gets onto something else, but you know, stuff like that that's actually related to their core business model, I think will do really well. Who was it here? Oh yeah, somebody had asked earlier. Where was it? Oh yeah, actually, Wicked says, "Aren't you guys going to be on Fresh and Fit today?" We had made a schedule with them for that, but then it shifted earlier this week. So we're still working on dates with them. They're basically flooded. I guess if you guys go look at their live streams on their channel. They pretty much haven't had a lot of guests, and when they have, like, they're basically inundated with a bunch of different people asking for time and space. So they're extremely busy right now, and we're trying to get on with them, and we're trying to push this and everything. But we're going to try to do that in the next 1 week, essentially. So this happened like half the time we jumped. Like, this happened one time when we went to Miami, and then it was when we were there. They were like, "Oh yeah, let's push it half a week." Thanks. Like, you could have told us before we flew out there. At least this time, right? They're like, before we flew out there, they're like, hey, hold on a second, let's reschedule. So we're working on that.
Maybe it all works out at the end, because man, I would have been sick as a dog on there, bro. Oh yeah, my god,
wouldn't have been good. Yeah.
I think it happened one time. I went on FNF and I couldn't, like, I think it was maybe like 2 years ago. Fuck, I was so quiet on the stream because I didn't want to cough. That's how bad. You know, you're in class, you're trying not to cough. Like, that's exactly how I felt. Like, it was like horrible, man.
Yeah, and then I just have to, like, what do you call it? It'd be like, so anyways, and just, talk a lot more in that case, which
Charlie said something is like true.
Yeah. Agree with everything I say, god damn it. We have actually Wicked saying, should I upgrade? He's talking about his Trezor. I only got it in October. It looks like they don't sell the Model 1 anymore. Or is it okay to keep this one? It's okay to keep one, but you should probably, diversify and get newer, fresh options. We were talking about this on yesterday's show, and you were talking about the Model 5 being a good one, right?
Yeah, the Trezor Model 5, I like. It's the most advanced version that doesn't have Bluetooth capability. There is the Model 7. Yeah, it still has a touchscreen, still has everything, but it still has a corded cable. I think it's a little safer than using the Bluetooth side of it. And yeah, it's also like only $120. Not bad. Yeah.
What price is Aerodrome right now?
49 cents.
Okay, so it's popping around. Neil Paul says, should I get some more Aero now or wait for the dip in coming days? I know I'm late to Aero, but I just never prioritized it yet. So yesterday, what we said on their update, they put out an article about this. They pretty much 1 month from now, so mid-August, is when their audit will be fully complete. And then they will have a 3-week process after that with a public audit. So everybody's going to be able to come on there and, basically poke holes in it before it's live. So it's kind of like a pre-live feature as a way to kind of get interest in it. And then in September now is where they're going to go live on Ethereum, allegedly. So you got some time before, like, because when it does pop onto Ethereum, right, they're going to be getting a lot of fees, and just simply by earning more for the platform, that will cause the token to go up for sure. So once it's fully deployed on Ethereum, okay, token price will get really, really interesting. Between now and then, anything under 50 cents is great. So, if it goes below 45 cents, it'll drop a little bit more. But so far, it's been, holding that level pretty well. And I think that's mostly because Bitcoin hasn't broken back below 62K. Bitcoin goes below 62K, Aerodrome's going below 45 cents. If it goes below 45 cents on a weekly close, then I would say 2 to 3 weeks after that is probably where you're going to get some really good prices, maybe 38 cents. So if you're dollar cost averaging in now, starting to, I would say that's good. And then if it gets anywhere near 40 cents or below 40 cents, then just go much, much harder at that time, especially for close to a 60-day cycle low. So, but yeah, below 50 cents, because like what could happen is Clarity Act might actually have some progress. And if that happens and Bitcoin price starts going up, it's going to go back above 50 cents pretty easily too.
So Charlie, don't share my screen just yet, because I have to give some data. This is very important data.
Okay.
Guys. Very important data. But there's been a trend I've noticed over the years of a certain movie when it comes out.
Okay.
Crypto prices pump pretty good. But it's usually a top, very close to a top.
A movie, you say?
Yes. Go ahead. You can share it now. So we have the Dune movies.
Oh, no. This is not a coincidence at all.
Right.
Planned market timing.
So I posted this in 2024, And as you can see by my all the sophisticated charting I have here, you have the Dune announcement, pump, then crash. The first Dune movie, pump, then crash. Second Dune movie, pump, then crash. The next Dune movie is December 2026. Hey, that's this year. So we might have a nice December where we should probably take some profits.
To be honest, if Clarity Act passes, I could totally see that happening, actually.
Exactly. It could pass, even if it takes a little longer. And then we could have a nice early December. Let me see when Dune actually won.
Yeah, the only thing is each of these ones was a new all-time high.
Yeah.
And what was 2017 to 21? That's 4 years. Then 21 to 24, 3 years. Based on that pattern, 2026. Ooh, this lines up.
So it launches December 18th. December 18th, 2026.
Does that mean they're coming out with the fourth one 1 year after that and the end of 27?
No. Well, they might. There's a weird shit where like this might be the last one, or like he might end up just doing the God Emperor of Dune as the fourth movie, and then he doesn't want to do the other ones because basically after God Emperor of Dune it starts getting weird. Basically, because what happens is each one it keeps advancing in time, and you're dealing with like his children, and I've only read up to like God Emperor of Dune, and then I try to read the next book after that, and it's just it's kind of weird. It's very like it just starts getting out there, and I think a lot of like audience members are gonna be like, I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, we have to keep everything relative, right? Because the Dune movie announced it could just be a small thing, but hey, it might be something just to keep in mind. Because a lot of people do sell crypto, at the end of the year, and then kind of rebuy back in January. So just
absolutely
something to keep in mind. But it's just a funny little coincidence. Obviously, if shit does start ripping, I'm just like, okay, okay.
Hey, I'll take it.
But there you go.
Yep. The more you know.
Surprise, surprise.
Actually, Wicked says, at what point is it good to have more than one wallet? Currently at 0.81 Bitcoin and 2 ETH. Is it okay to keep it in one wallet? Yeah, it's fine. If you want to, less of an attack vector, you could have one for your Bitcoin, one for your Ethereum stack. Less of the central point of failure. That's always good. But I mean, these are only a few $100s for a couple $100 for new hardware wallets, right? So anything that you're going to hold long term, you could have one wallet for Bitcoin, one wallet for Ethereum, and then once you get to like, a good chunk of Sol, like 50 Sol or something, right? Then you can have your own Trezor for Sol. But basically anything you're going to hold long term is fine to have its own. But for right now, it's not a problem to keep them in there together. It doesn't feel like we've been on here for 2 hours and 49 minutes at all. I think the first, hour or so was the meeting. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah.
I was trying to cut you off before you went too far because I'm like, I don't think he knows he's muted right now.
Well, basically, you did have to wait a while, like 30 minutes for like the feed to figure the feed to come on, basically before.
Yeah, that was so gay. It came on the GOP of Financial Services one, and then the other one that was supposed to come on was the U.S. Committee on Financial Services, which is the actual one running it, and it never came on that one. It still says the 7 a.m. time, so it's like they only went live on one of their things. One of the interns fucked up on the StreamYard. See, we even have better employees than the government. We have better live streaming capability on our website than they do too. So, hey, we're winning out here.
Just to give you guys a bit of an update, we're going to be on the Come On podcast on this next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be doing Jack Napier's stream as well, I believe, on Monday, and Rollo Tomasi stream as well, which I think will also be on Monday as well. So
the Jack Napier one might be another early bird special, though.
I think so. I don't know what the Yeah. And then we're we're also going to be doing Sartain stream, the Sartain report as well.
Yep.
We're actually got quite a few ones. I'm actually working on getting maybe a stream with I almost said Art Kelly, Sean Kelly, Sean Kelly,
Art
Kelly.
That would be funny.
It's early.
Yeah, we'll have there's a secret female podcast that we may also try to. Well, we've been trying, but they said yes. But we'll see if they actually pull through with it.
That's right. Kathy Wood is interviewing me. That's right.
That's right. CNBC, baby. Let's go.
We go on that fucking popular female sex podcast.
Be like, so crypto makes women dry. How do you reverse that trend? Well, sir, or no, well, ma'am. Let me tell you the steps.
Do you think you've gotten fucked hard? Crypto.
Oh, boy, no, that route, huh?
Let's talk sex stories and shit. Let me tell you the time that Hex crashed from 56 cents to an entire 1 million men fucked in the ass for fucking 5 years.
It's like, I don't need sex. I get fucked in crypto every day.
Wow, Miguel, you've got us beat. Yeah, I figured.
So like what's your humiliation ritual in crypto? Buying Pulse Chain.
But we actually have talked in the past about doing the show. Maybe it might be a possibility because it's in LA, but we talked about going on Adam 22.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The first time we were like, we got some connects and finally we were like, oh, let's jump on that one.
Yeah.
All the stuff with his wife and stuff started happening.
Oh, I know, bro. So we were like,
okay, hold up.
We were this close to going. I mean, we literally were backstage at Adam 22 and stuff. And I met Sharp and like, we saw all that stuff there. And I met a lot of cool people there. And then I was there with Rolo. And we were like, yeah, we're setting up possibly doing stream. And maybe like he has a bunch of other affiliate people, like shows on Vlad. Oh, not on Vlad. I'm sorry. On Adam 22 channel. And we were going to do all of them. And then just all this cuck shit came out. And we're like, ugh.
Like, yeah, maybe we should. Maybe though. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost the same. We ended up meeting, what's his name? Oh my God. Who's the bodybuilder guy that went to jail recently?
Oh, Wes Watson.
Yeah, we met Wes Watson, and then something bad happened to him too.
Same with BitBoy, bro. Like we met BitBoy. He was like, "Yeah, I'll work with you guys," and then like goes crazy like 2 months later.
Is this like, let me show you my world? And they're like, oh.
We have this effect on people.
Fuck. You're in a relationship and be like, fuck, I'm the problem.
It just happened. Like I don't know. Like maybe it's like a top signal. It's like okay.
Yeah, we're meeting people as a top signal.
They're finally ready to shill crypto. They're like comfortable with it finally, right? They finally found two guys who like can explain it to them in layman's terms, and they're happy about that. And then right when they're at, I mean, it's like, what do you call it? They're at their peak or whatever, and then it's just like, damn, like all right. But what if we would have actually went on each of those, and then like a week later, each of those things happened?
Yeah, because we were talking to Wes Watson actually backstage, and he was open to a stream actually.
And he's way nicer backstage. Like,
oh my God,
I think people like know if you see his personality, you're like, I don't know if I can see that. But legitimately, like he's a little, he's what do you call it? He's very firm, but like. He knew about crypto. We talked about it with him. He's like, oh, yeah, I have a wallet for this and that. And like, super nice guy. Him and Andrew backstage were like not, like they were on stage.
Yeah, they're just being cordial. Everyone's being cool. Yeah. I mean, I talked to him for a good time and shit and everything like that. Sort of Charlie. And like, you have to understand, a lot of social media is a little bit of a, like, it's sort of this, like, how like kids act like, the best way to explain it is like, so sometimes the kids, if there's some girls go around for the first time, fucking adults act like this too. But like, little boys start showing off at the party or something because like a little girl is there or something like that. So they start acting all tough and macho. That's kind of what happens to dudes and their personalities on stage. Then it happens naturally to everybody. You turn your personality to 11 because you have to on camera. And sometimes that can get you into trouble depending on like, if your personality is already kind of like that, and then you even go further, it's like, oh shit. And because this is really the first time I met both of those guys. No, actually, Andrew Wilson, I think we met him one time before. I think he had come to Vegas previously, but I didn't know of him being a debate guy, basically. So it's just like a person who loves to fucking argue, and then a person who's fucking screaming at it's fucking gasoline and fucking matches, man.
Yeah, we went onto stage thinking, oh, this is actually going to be a really interesting conversation where it's going to be a lot of back and forth. And it was like everybody was just like, nope, let's watch these two beef.
I remember watching a Shane Gillis podcast, and they literally talked about us and talked about I was like, no, because we're over there and like they're just fucking laughing at the whole situation. I was like, oh my god.
I remember there was one person who I was in Boy Scouts with back when I was in high school. He was like, bro, WTF, like, why are you on that stage? I was like, I don't know, bro. We just happened to be there.
We got motion, dog. We got motion.
Shit was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was cool and stuff like that.
And it was cool to see actually Wicked jump into the chat because he says, thanks for answering my questions. I'm usually replay gang, but I'm able to watch live as it's 5:30 p.m. in the UK here. Hey, we reach a new audience at different times, but man, the amount of times that we do webinars, we're getting in webinar shape, right? Because we do webinars at these times, and this is pretty much, I think the timing of the morning webinars, right? We jump on around 7 Pacific, and then we jump off around 10, 11, and then we give you guys the recording in the afternoon. So for you guys in the UK, much better for attending the course, for sure. But yeah, man. Anything else in the chat you wanted to mention, or anything else? Because I think we've done a pretty thorough job here. I think there was, I guess maybe one of the last questions, just to put a little note on it. There was one asking for this one here. Nicholas saying, what happened today? All I know, it was about the Clarity Act, but what was the session about that consists for the Clarity Act? No, they didn't actually talk about what's in the Clarity Act much. They basically were talking about, hey, there's 4 people from different companies in crypto, and they were like, hey, if we don't pass the Clarity Act, how is this going to negatively impact your business? Why should we pass this? What is the regulation for? How does that positively affect American business and not get, that business taken away by other countries and stuff like that, right? So it was a little bit more of a cheerleading session by Republicans. Democrats were invited. None of them showed up. Not a great sign for getting votes. If 5 Democrats had showed up, okay, we're probably going to pass this thing, because they only need 6 Democrat votes, right, if all the Republicans are voting yes for it. So, but 0 showing up, not that, So yeah, that was generally the gist of it. But it gets the ball rolling here, basically into the next 1 week. And now the new Clarity Act text is out now. And so you'll probably over the weekend or over the beginning of next week start seeing, different people break it down. Yeah, my guess is it's not too much different from before. We got Crypto Dugan saying PDGC is bullish. Yeah, baby. All right.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, the whole ecosystem's kind of pumping a little bit. So it's been a nice couple days in pulse changes, pumping steady eddy. And when you have a motion, that ends up activating PGC.
Yeah, PGC is almost on a full 2x. It wicked up to this area, then basically went down and then came back up. So that's good. Pulse Chain and Pulse X, on the other hand, I can't say are so lucky. They wicked up and then they came back down, and then they haven't gone back up like that. So somebody says, hit the like button. Appreciate you. Yeah, we're all right now. We are on Rumble, Cultivate Cryptos. We have, how many people there? We have, it looks like we got some more followers. We hit the goal that we set yesterday. Yay. We said, let's get to 160 followers. We are at, looks like 161 the last time I checked, but refreshing now. We got 49 people over there watching, 17 likes. Smash the like button, smash the follow. Here on Dollar Cost Crypto's YouTube, we have 61 people watching right now. I can't see how many, we are at 76 likes. Beautiful. Appreciate you all. Keep smashing the like replay gang, and make sure that you are subscribe to Dollar Cost Crypto here on YouTube as well. So
I appreciate it, man. We're holding it down, man. We're holding it down. Charlie will return.
Yeah, that's right. Me and Miguel are going to do some working on the business stuff, getting the course sorted for you guys. We got some updates that are cool here, but we'll keep those under wraps until we got some official motion, hopefully next week. But we will see. We will see. Is there a stream later today? No, not as of yet. If we decide to do one, we'll announce it on Twitter. And then if you're subscribed via Cultivate Crypto live stream on our website, you'll also get notified there. But we're pretty much going to be doing a lot of work here in the background today, connecting to different podcasts, doing different campaigns to, get attention and different stuff like that. So we came early here for you guys today. And if you want to watch the replay, it's available. So we will be back tomorrow for sure, though. Today is Friday. We're streaming every single day on either both or one of each of our platforms. Pretty much always for sure on Dollar Cost Crypto on YouTube. And then we switch between Dollar Cost Crypto on Rumble versus Cultivate Crypto on Rumble, basically. We're going to be streaming tomorrow. We're going to be streaming Sunday. We're going to be streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then another week after that. So WJ Dugan says, we appreciate your hustle, guys. Let's get this chicken. Yeah, man, we really want you guys to have the best opportunity here going into the cycle lows for the 4-year cycle. So, join us. We've had a big influx of people the last few days jumping in the course. So that's always good to see. Let's keep it going. And man, we'll probably get some IVs before the course starts just to, really, be on everything. But we'll be here tomorrow. Time-wise, probably our mid-afternoon on Saturday. So I'm guessing like 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern-ish tomorrow. But
I've thought about live streaming, getting an NAD drip. That would be hilarious. It's brutal though. You see like
while we're streaming,
we
could have them come to the studio, hook us up, and be like, "Hey guys, straight to the veins.
We're not stopping. We're not stopping."
I got the hope.
It'd be brutal, bro. Because when they push that needle, dude, you'll just see me like. It's literally like I'm fucking overdosing on fent, and then they fucking put the gas mask on me to bring me back. You're like, hey, bro, I don't know if this is worth it. Hilarious.
That's what hopium does to you, It's a wild ride.
That's true.
But
thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for joining us, and then we'll have updates in the groups and stuff like that, and then I'll announce when I do a call in the Citadel very soon.
Beautiful. We'll put up this for you guys, and then we will see you here tomorrow. So until then, guys, peace, live long and prosper. We'll catch you all again soon. Later.
You buy this for $39.99. Guess what, folks? You take the L away. You put a W there, baby. You're a winner, man. You're the real deal. You're picking up chicks. Let me tell you something. You buy this set at $39.99, baby. You're the cock of the walk, man. You walk into the bar and you just find the hottest chick and you go, you, me. Guess what? She says, why would I go out with you? Because I bought the deal on Wild West Deals for $39.99. That's why. She says, can I go home with you? That's how simple it is. That's how it works. That's what this set brings to the table. Because you know what she sees? She sees a man who knows what he wants. She sees a man who says, good deals don't get by me, baby. I move. I act quick. I act now. I go to wildwestdeals.com. Boom. That's why you're hanging with chicks all night long. That's why you got guys like Michael Jordan calling you, wanting to hang out with you, baby. Because you bought it for $39.99.